The divine sword is invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476, Huanquan Patriarch's Cave. The monster in front of him was a corpse ghost. A creature that was half corpse and half ghost. The corpse ghosts of the Huanquan demon sect were as difficult to kill as the undead spirits of the undead god of death. However, seeing the corpse ghost attacking again, Yang Xiaoshan urged the power of the eternal god body and blasted out again. Bang! This emperor level corpse ghost was blasted and flew up and turned into time sand in midair, completely disappearing between heaven and earth. Seeing this, Anlang couldn't help but exclaimed, "Young master's eternal god body is really invincible." Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "At least it can't kill you." He punched Anlang several times. Anlang smiled awkwardly. However, he also knew that this was because Yang Xiaoshan's realm was still low, and he couldn't really exert the power of the eternal god body. If Yang Xiaoshan broke through the saint realm, it would be hard to say whether he could still withstand the power of the eternal god body. The two continued to fly forward. The dark power of Anlang's body rolled and formed a dark barrier, blocking the increasingly strong Huanquan demonic energy. On the way, the two encountered many corpse ghosts again. These corpse ghosts are all strong, at least they are in the Emperor realm, and some are even in the Saint realm. When Yang Xiaoshan and his companions came to the depths of Huanquan Demon Gate, they even encountered corpse ghosts in the spirit realm. Even Anlang had to spend a lot of effort to kill the spirit ghosts in the spirit realm. When they came to the depths of Huanquan Demon Gate, they saw that the buildings here were still well preserved. The palaces were extremely tall and magnificent, but after years of erosion, these palaces had long lost their divinity and were dim. It was dead and gloomy. It was desolate, barren, and dilapidated. In the weeds taller than people, various poisons and dead things were hidden. The palace in front was the main hall of Huanquan Demon Gate in the past. Anlang pointed to the front and said, "From the main hall, it is the cave where the ancestors of Huanquan Demon Gate practiced. Deeper, it is the forbidden land of Huanquan Demon Gate. Under the forbidden land is the river of corpses." Yang Xiaoshan nodded. According to legend, the eternal heaven coffin is from the corpse river. The founder of the Huanquan demon sect discovered the eternal heaven coffin in the corpse river. He obtained the eternal heaven coffin, practiced Huanquan magic, and founded the Huanquan demon sect. The cave of the founder of the Huanquan demon sect is right next to the corpse river. The cave of the founder of the Huanquan demon sect should have the method to refine the eternal heaven coffin, so he will enter the corpse river later. The two flew to the Huanquan forbidden land. Although the palaces in the depths are still intact, many palaces have been chopped into pieces by the supreme sword energy. Many palaces have completely disappeared, and there are terrifying fist holes printed on the ground, which are bottomless. You can imagine how earth-shaking the battle that took place in the Huanquan demon sect was. Old Dragon, do you know about the battle of the Huanquan demon sect back then? Yang Xiaoshan asked. Dark Dragon shook his head. There are many different opinions about that battle. Some say it was the Lord of the Kang god, while others say it was the immortal death god and the undefeated underworld god. At this point, he pondered and said, although the immortal death god and the undefeated underworld god are strong, even if they join forces, they cannot destroy the Huanquan demon sect. The Huanquan demon sect was the #1 demon sect in the Kangshen continent. How strong is it? How could the immortal death god and the undefeated underworld god be able to destroy it? The Yellow Spring Ghost King and the Heaven-Shaking Sword God alone are not weaker than the immortal death god and the undefeated underworld god. However, it should not be the Lord of the Kang god who did it. Dark Dragon said again, from the destruction of these palaces, it is not the Lord of the Kang god and Lord Kang Xiang who did it. At this point, he said, some people suspect that it should be a master from the Wanjian continent. Wanjian continent. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. The headquarters of the Tangshan divine sect is in the Wanjian continent. However, these are just speculations. No one knows what happened back then. Anlang said, if the Yellow Spring Ghost King can be resurrected, we will know who made the move. In that battle, the heaven-shaking sword god died. The Yellow Spring Ghost King was seriously injured and half dead. He escaped with the help of the Eternal Heaven Coffin. The person who made the move was so powerful. Soon, the two came to the Yellow Spring Demon Gate Hall. The hall was magnificent, but half of it had collapsed. After the terrifying fist force blasted through the hall, it extended all the way to the forbidden area. Yang's Eye Ocean landed in the hall. The Yellow Spring Demon Key in the hall was rolling, and as thick as the sea. Through these demonic auras, you can see the demon gods carved on the stone pillars above the hall. Yang's Eye Ocean walked around, and found nothing useful, so he and Anlan continued to fly to the forbidden area. Just as the two flew to the Yellow Spring Demon Gate forbidden area, several figures floated outside the Yellow Spring Demon Gate ruins. They were the immortal death god, Yanping, the son of the Hades, the corpse demon, the blood demon, and the evil Buddha. In addition to the few people, there was also the Brahma sword god of the Brahma family. However, the Brahma sword 9 was not seen. The immortal death god and the son of the Hades god, Yanping, came here to find the Huanquan divine pill refined by the Huanquan patriarch. The immortal death god and his men directly broke through the Huanquan demonic key and entered the ruins. When they met corpse ghosts on the way, they just punched and blew them up. What do you think about the Poison Dragon Palace? The immortal death god suddenly said. It should be that kid who did it. Yanping's face was gloomy. I heard that the Poison Dragon Palace treasury was also emptied by that kid. He couldn't help but think of the Ghost Cave treasury that was emptied in the Hades Gate, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. That kid has been ruining our good things. I really want to crush him to death. The corpse demon was furious. How is the god's mansion? The immortal death god asked. These days, they have been sending people to keep a close eye on the god's mansion. The Yang family has been staying in the god's mansion these days and has not gone out. The blood demon shook his head and said, only some guards came out to purchase things. Therefore, they had no chance to attack the Yang family. Since the Yang family is not coming out, then attack these guards. The immortal death god's face was gloomy. I want to make everyone in the god's mansion live in fear all day long. The corpse demons nodded. Just as the immortal death god and his men were coming to the Yellow Springs Forbidden Land, Yang's Eye Ocean and his men finally arrived at the Yellow Springs Forbidden Land. The Yellow Springs Forbidden Land was forbidden in the past, but after the battle that year, the ban had been destroyed, so Yang's Eye Ocean and his men easily passed through the Forbidden Land and came to the underground of the Forbidden Land. Once they entered the underground of the Forbidden Land, the terrifying corpse gas rushed towards them like a wave. Yang's Eye Ocean looked over and saw that at the end of the monstrous corpse gas, a huge corpse river stretched across the ground. The corpse river water was surging and smelled terrible. Young master, be careful, Dark Dragon reminded, because he sensed that there were several extremely dangerous auras in the underground space. These extremely dangerous auras are lurking in the corpse river. Yang's Eye Ocean nodded, and he pushed the power of the eternal body to the extreme. The power of time flowed around his body, and then he walked forward and looked for the cave of Huanquan Patriarch. After searching for a while, Yang's Eye Ocean saw a huge palace standing beside the corpse river. I think that is the cave of Huanquan Patriarch. Chapter 477, Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron. Yang's Eye Ocean and the other man flew towards the cave quickly. However, when they came to the cave, Anlan kept an eye on the changes in the corpse river and was on guard against the terrifying beings in the corpse river. When they arrived in front of the cave gate, they saw that the cave gate was closed and there were runes on it. Even after a million years, these runes were still shining. The entire cave was not made of fine iron, but made of huge pieces of animal bones. These animal bones exuded amazing corpse ki. The corpse ki was rolling, and there was a faint shrill sound. Obviously, these corpse ki had turned into spirits. Yang's Eye Ocean was shocked. What kind of animal bones were these? The corpse ki could actually turn into spirits. This should be the corpse beast in the corpse river. After being killed by Huanquan Patriarch, its bones were used to refine this cave. And Lang said with a serious face, these corpse ki have turned into spirits, which is very troublesome. Even he said it was very troublesome, which shows how terrifying these corpse ki are. Yang's Eye Ocean tried to activate the power of the eternal divine body and punched out with both fists. Suddenly, the power of time blasted into the rolling corpse gas. A shrill scream sounded. What surprised Yang Xiaoshan was that his power of time could only make the rolling corpse gas lighter, but could not completely assimilate it. Moreover, Yang Xiaoshan's attack caused the originally calm light of the cave to shake constantly, and endless corpse gas gushed out, roaring towards Yang Xiaoshan and Dark Dragon. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked, and he and Dark Dragon quickly retreated, all the way to the underground entrance, and the corpse gas gushing out of the cave stopped. No wonder the cave of Huanquan Patriarch has been well preserved. Even if someone can enter this underground corpse river, it is extremely difficult to enter the cave of Huanquan Patriarch. Yang Xiaoshan had no choice but to let Dark Dragon wait for him outside, and then let Master Ding protect him with a light shield, and came to the gate of the cave again. Yang Xiaoshan put his palms on the gate, and tried to use the power of the eternal divine body to see if he could assimilate the gate. What made Yang Xiaoshan happy was that under the power of the eternal god body, the gate was assimilated little by little. Although the speed was very slow, it would take at most a cup of tea to assimilate at this speed. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was constantly assimilating the gate of the cave, the immortal death god in the son of the Hades, Yanping, also came to the main hall of the Yellow Spring Demon Gate. The immortal death god looked at the terrifying fist force extending to the end, and there was some fluctuation on his expressionless face. It was the first demon gate back then, but it ended up like this. It's a pity. Yanping, the son of the Hades, looked at the Yellow Spring Demon Gate hall in front of him and sighed. The Yellow Spring Demon Gate was destroyed, and he had just broken through the spirit realm. When the Yellow Spring Demon Gate was destroyed, the news spread, and it shocked the Kangshen continent. It's just a matter of success or failure. The immortal death god's eyes returned to indifference and he continued to fly to the Yellow Spring Forbidden Land with a few people. Under the Forbidden Land, under the power of time of Yang Xiaoshan, the gate of the cave was finally assimilated. Looking at the big hole at the entrance of the cave, Yang Xiaoshan was delighted and flashed in. Inside the cave, the corpse gas was even more intense. However, with the protection of Master Ding's light shield, Yang Xiaoshan was able to move freely in the cave. The space inside the cave was larger than he imagined. The front hall alone was several thousand meters in size. Yang Xiaoshan walked around and found nothing useful, so he walked to the backyard. In the backyard, there was actually a towering tree. This giant tree was actually all bones. Even the branches were bones, and on the branches, there were more than a dozen fruits hanging. These dozen fruits exuded an astonishing aura of death, but the surface was flowing with divine light. What is this? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Death God Tree. Master Ding said. Death God Tree. The tree in front of him turned out to be the Death God Tree, the treasure of the demon sect. Master Ding, is there any way to take away this Death God Tree? Yang Xiaoshan asked. If this death tree is obtained by the undying death god and the undefeated Hades, the power of the undying death god and the undefeated Hades will be able to be cultivated to an astonishing level, and the death tree naturally cannot be left. This death tree is the same as the dragon god tree. It is already connected to the power of the entire cave. It is difficult to take it away, said Master Ding. If you want to take it away, you have to consume the 9 heavenly tribulation thunder water. Yang Xiaoshan frowned. But don't worry, this death tree is impossible for others to take away, said Master Ding. Yang Xiaoshan nodded, jumped up, and picked all the dozen death fruits. These dozen death fruits contain terrifying death energy. Although he cannot refine them, taking them away first may be of great use in the future. After collecting all the fruits, Yang Xiaoshan tried to use the power of the eternal god body to see if he could destroy the death tree. However, as soon as the power of his eternal god body touched the tree, it was shattered by the power of the tree. It seems that the death tree has been connected to the power of the cave, and he cannot destroy it with his current strength. Yang Xiaoshan had no choice but to go inside to find a way to refine the eternal heaven coffin. After a while, he came to a palace. Inside the palace, there were countless books. What was surprising was that these books were still intact after being eroded by corpse key for many years. Yang Xiaoshan went forward and flipped through them roughly. They were all the magical powers and swordsmanship of the Huanquan demon sect, and there were also many notes left by the Huanquan patriarch. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan took all these books away and went back to read them later. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan found the Huanquan Patriarch's alchemy room. In the alchemy room, there was a large cauldron with a dead aura, and the body of the cauldron was branded with a river of corpses. It seemed that this was the Huanquan Corpse River Cauldron, one of the 4 great cauldrons in the Kangshan continent. Yang Xiaoshan did not go to refine it, and directly took the Huanquan Corpse River Cauldron away. There were many alchemy books in the alchemy room, and Yang Xiaoshan also moved them all away. Yang Xiaoshan continued to search for the Destiny Stone in the cave. He came to the ruins of Huanquan Demon Sect this time mainly for the Destiny Stone. However, Yang Xiaoshan searched every corner of the cave, but he still didn't see the Destiny Stone. Could it be that the Destiny Stone is not here? Just when Yang Xiaoshan was wondering, suddenly, there was a loud bang and the roar of the dark dragon outside the cave. Yang Xiaoshan flew out of the cave quickly. As soon as he flew out of the cave, he saw the figures of the undead god of death and the son of the Hades, Yangping. The dark dragon was being besieged by the corpse demon, the blood demon, the evil Buddha, and the Brahma sword god. Because the dark dragon's strength had not yet fully recovered, and the 4 corpse demons joined forces, the dark dragon was forced to retreat step by step. The undead god of death and the son of the Hades, Yanping, were watching the battle. Suddenly, they saw Yang Xiaoshan flying out of the Huanquan Patriarch's cave, and they were both shocked. Yang Xiaoshan, the undead god of death, and Yanping said in unison, "Damn. How come I always run into this guy everywhere?" Seeing Yang Xiaoshan, the immortal death god wanted to tear the corpse river apart with his bare hands. Hearing the exclamations of the immortal death god and Yanping, the corpse demons besieging the dark dragon were trembling with fear, and stopped in fear. Master Ding. Yang Xiaoshan roared, and the roar shook the corpse river. Chapter 478. This is to Invincible. Hearing the familiar roar of Master Ding from Yang Xiaoshan, the undead god of death and the son of Hades were all trembling with fear. Almost like a conditioned reflex, they raised their divine power madly, and flew madly towards the underground entrance. The undead god of death and the son of Hades were extremely fast as lightning, but although they were fast, Master Ding was even faster. As soon as they escaped to the underground entrance, they were caught up by Master Ding. Boom. The undead god of death and the son of Hades felt their whole bodies suddenly paused, and were blasted away. Several people smashed through the mountains of the forbidden land of Huanquan Demon Gate. However, several people did not dare to stop for a moment, and even did not have time to wipe off the blood from the corners of their mouths, and continued to flee. The dark dragon stared at the undead god of death, who fled in a panic. In ancient times, the undead god of death, who had already made the Kangshan continent tremble with fear, actually escaped. Moreover, he clearly saw the fear on the face of the undying god of death, the son of god of hell, when he heard their son calling Master Ding. It seemed that this was not the first time that the undying god of death and his men had been bombarded. Looking at the undying god of death, who had escaped in an instant, Yang Xiaoshan's eyes were cold. Sooner or later, he would personally take action to get rid of the few people. "Let's go," Yang Xiaoshan said, and flew out. Dark Dragon came back to his senses and followed him. "Old Dragon, do you know where the Huanquan Demon Sect's treasure house was back then?" Yang Xiaoshan suddenly asked. Since the Destiny Stone was not in the Huanquan Patriarch's cave, it was very likely in the Huanquan Demon Sect's treasure house. And Lang was stunned, and then hurriedly said, "The Huanquan Demon Sect's treasure house is hidden very secretly. Except for the successive masters of the Huanquan Demon Sect, no one knows its location. I heard that many masters searched the Huanquan Demon Sect, and couldn't find the Huanquan treasure house." At this point, and Lang said, "However, the Yinfeng sect seems to have obtained the map of the Huanquan treasure house." Yang Xiaoshan nodded. He remembered that, when he destroyed the ancient ancestors of the Poison Dragon Palace, one of the ancient ancestors of the Poison Dragon Palace seemed to say that the Yinfeng sect had the map of the Huanquan treasure house. But now that the God's Mansion competition is imminent, he can only go to the Yinfeng sect next time. Yang Xiaoshan summoned the Abyss spaceship and left with An Lang on the spaceship. After leaving the Huanquan Demon Sect ruins, Yang Xiaoshan drove the spaceship back to Kangshenfu. If he rushed back to Kangshenfu now, he could just participate in the God's Mansion competition. Not long after Yang Xiaoshan left the Huangquan demon sect ruins, the immortal death god, the son of the Hades god, Yanping, and others fell down from a barren mountain. The immortal death wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His heart was filled with boundless anger, and he almost roared, "Call all the masters, destroy the god's mansion for me. Destroy the Yang family and the god's mansion for me at all costs." The eyes of Yanping, the son of the Hades god, were also full of boundless killing intent. He immediately contacted the Hades Gate Masters, arranged everything, and attacked the 10,000 gods imperial capital. As long as the 10,000 gods imperial capital was broken, the first people they would kill were the people in the god's mansion. Yang Xiaoshan didn't know all this. On the way back to the Kangshan mansion, Yang Xiaoshan was not in a hurry to refine the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron, but carefully read the notes left by the Yellow Spring Patriarch. With Yang Xiaoshan's current soul power, he could read 10 lines at a glance. After a few days, he had read all the notes left by the Yellow Spring Patriarch and many secret manuals of the Yellow Spring Demon Sect. The night was quiet. Yang Xiaoshan stood at the bow, thinking about the Eternal Heaven coffin. After reading the notes of the Yellow Spring Patriarch, he had found a way to refine the Eternal Heaven coffin. To refine the Eternal Heavenly coffin, one must practice the Yellow Spring Divine Art. Yellow Spring Divine Art. Yang Xiaoshan read. However, there is no Yellow Spring Divine Art in the book of techniques left by the Yellow Spring Patriarch. Therefore, he still has to look for the Yellow Spring Divine Art. Yang Xiaoshan had a headache. He just didn't know if there was the Yellow Spring Divine Art in the Yellow Spring Treasure House. Since he couldn't refine the Eternal Heavenly coffin for the time being, Yang Xiaoshan could only refine the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron first. In the notes of the Yellow Spring Patriarch, there is a method to refine the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron. It is not difficult to refine the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron. Yang Xiaoshan only took a few hours to refine the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron according to the method. Yang Xiaoshan opened the Yellow Spring Corpse River Cauldron. Inside the cauldron was a golden divine pill, the color of the corpse river, and the death energy was vast. Yellow Spring Divine Pill. Yang Xiaoshan had been looking through the notes of the Yellow Spring Patriarch these days, and recognized at a glance that the pill in front of him was the Yellow Spring Divine Pill, the treasure of the Yellow Spring Demon Sect. But unfortunately, this Huangquan Divine Pill is just like the Death Divine Fruit. Yang Xiaoshan can't swallow and refine it at all. So, he can only keep this Huangquan Divine Pill and the Death Divine Fruit for now. Time passed. On the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan, in addition to reading the books left by the Huangquan Patriarch, continued to practice and consolidate the Sea of Gods and the world. And Anlong also swallowed the sixfold heavenly tribulation thunder water to practice and recover from his injuries. Since outsiders cannot enter the Kangshan mansion, Yang Xiaoshan and Anlong separated when they returned to the Kangshan mansion. As soon as he returned to the Kangshan mansion, Yang Xiaoshan found that the disciples of the Kangshan mansion were all discussing this Shen mansion competition. It turned out that 2 days before he came back, the owner of the mansion Zheng Yangjiang increased the rewards for this Shen mansion competition a lot. In addition to the reward of the Heavenly Destiny Divine Stone, the top 10 will also be rewarded with top grade spirit stones and a large number of Emperor level elixirs. Yang Xiaoshan flew back to his cave. However, just as he was flying back to his cave, suddenly, thunder and lightning flashed above the 9 heavens, and layers of thunder clouds gathered one after another. Yang Xiaoshan was startled. Someone is going to overcome the tribulation of fate. Who is going to condense the destiny? It's the eldest brother. The eldest brother is activating the ninefold space to overcome the ninefold destiny tribulation. What? The eldest brother has cultivated 10 ninefold destiny. If he overcomes the ninefold destiny tribulation again, then wouldn't that be the 11th ninefold destiny? 11 ninefold destiny. Divine body of heaven and earth. This is too invincible. Who can stop the eldest brother in this God's Mansion competition? The eldest brother is going to sweep this God's Mansion competition. Boom. In the amazement of the crowd, one after another tribulation thunder fell to Renshai's cave. Renshai, in an invincible posture, continuously blasted the ninefold tribulation thunder, and then condensed the 11th ninefold destiny. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan's face was normal, and he returned to his cave. to continue to consolidate his sea of divine world. Zheng Yangjiang, Sword Godzilla and others were also amazed to see that Ren Xianai successfully condensed the 11th ninefold destiny. No wonder Lord Kangshan values Xianai so much. He has 11 ninth layer destiny. It's unprecedented. Sword Godzilla also praised, maybe this kid can condense a 12th ninth layer destiny in the future. Zheng Yangjiang couldn't help but think of Yang Xiaoshan. Xiaoshan came back in the afternoon, but I don't know how many destinies Xiaoshan can cultivate in the future. Mentioning Yang Xiaoshan, Zilong smiled and said, I'm now worried whether this kid can make it to the top 10 this time. I wonder if I can see his martial spirit and spirit ring this time. I'm really curious, what did Meng Bei see that scared him silly? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479 One person challenges all core disciples. On the night when Yang Xiaoshan came back, the disciples spread the news that Chen Zefeng, the son of the beast god, who had been training outside, had returned. Chen Zefeng, the son of the beast god, is one of the 6 sons of Kangshan, and like Ren Xianai, he is the most controversial core disciple. Chen Zefeng is extremely powerful. It is rumored that he and Ren Xianai have fought several times, and it is difficult for both of them to tell the winner. This alone shows how powerful Chen Zefeng is. Some people say that the reason why Ren Xianai became the leader of the 6 sons of Kangshan is not because he is stronger than Chen Zefeng, but because Ren Xianai has the heaven and earth body of the Lord of Kangshan. However, some people say that Ren Xianai is actually stronger than Chen Zefeng. If they fight to the death, Chen Zefeng will definitely die. In any case, there is no doubt that Chen Zefeng is powerful. On the night when Chen Zefeng returned, Zheng Qian and Princess Wanning came to find Yang Xiaoshan. Junior brother Yang is back. Zheng Qian sat on the left of Yang Xiaoshan and smiled. This time when Yang Xiaoshan came back, he found that the usually quiet senior sister Zheng seemed to have become much more lively. The lively senior sister Zheng looked even better. Compared with senior sister Zheng, Princess Wanning's eyes looking at Yang Xiaoshan were still fiery. Junior brother went out to gain experience without taking us with him. Are you afraid that we will become a burden to you? Her voice was very gentle, which made people feel itchy. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, this trip is dangerous, so I didn't tell the 2 senior sisters, and I was afraid that the 2 senior sisters would worry. Princess Wanning felt sweet when she heard that Yang Xiaoshan took her to heart. The 3 of them chatted. During the chat, the 2 women talked about Ren Xianai. I didn't expect Ren Xianai to trigger the ninefold destiny tribulation again and cultivate the 11th ninefold destiny. Zheng Qian looked solemn. Now the disciples of the Divine Palace are talking about Ren Xianai cultivating the 11th ninefold destiny. Princess Wanning was also in a heavy mood. The stronger Ren Xianai is, the more disadvantageous it will be for Yang Xiaoshan. Moreover, Ren Xianai had a lot of complaints against Yang Xiaoshan. If Yang Xiaoshan met Ren Xianai in the God Palace competition, Ren Xianai would probably use heavy hands. This Ren Xianai has cultivated 11 ninefold destinies. His talent is indeed amazing. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. 11 ninefold destinies are amazing, no matter which era they are placed in. In the past 100,000 years, only Ren Xianai has been able to cultivate 11 ninefold destinies. Chen Zefeng just came back. Zheng Qian said, I heard that he entered the Beast God Mountain to train this time, and got a great adventure. His strength has improved by leaps and bounds. This person is extremely arrogant. He doesn't take anyone seriously. He doesn't even take Ren Xianai seriously. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. He has also heard about Chen Zefeng. Ren Xianai and Chen Zefeng are the most talked about in Kangshenfu. Although Meng Bei, the son of Killing, is one of the 6 sons of Kangshen, he is only ranked at the end. Compared with Ren Xianai and Chen Zefeng, he is far behind. This man is very hateful. Princess Wanning also looked unhappy when she mentioned Chen Zefeng. She had met Chen Zefeng at a banquet in the Wanzhen Emperor's palace. The way Chen Zefeng stared at her was like a ferocious beast, which made her feel uncomfortable. Junior brother Yang, I wonder how your cultivation is going now? Zenkai and Qian couldn't help asking Yang Xiaoshan. Wanning also looked at Yang Xiaoshan with curiosity. During the Kangshen Academy competition, Yang Xiaoshan and Zenkai and Qian fought a battle that was shocking. But since Yang Xiaoshan broke through the Emperor realm, no one has seen Yang Xiaoshan take action. As for Yang Xiaoshan's strength, everyone only had a vague guess. It's okay. Seeing the curiosity of the two women, Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, I have broken through to the second level of the Emperor realm. What? The second level of the Emperor realm? Zenkai and Qian and Wanning were shocked, and they all looked at Yang Xiaoshan in disbelief. Their junior brother Yang went out for a training trip, and when he came back, he actually broke through the second level of the Emperor realm. I still think that my cultivation is too slow, Yang Xiaoshan said. The two women were speechless. Is this too slow? They haven't even broken through to the middle stage of the first level of the Emperor realm yet. Yang Xiaoshan is already at the second level of the Emperor realm. The two women sat for a while before leaving. Yang Xiaoshan's breakthrough to the second level of the Emperor realm was a shock to the two women, so the two women decided to work harder in their cultivation to catch up with Yang Xiaoshan. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Yang Xiaoshan stayed in the cave and consolidated the world of the Sea of Gods without leaving the house. A day later, the Gods Mansion competition finally arrived. Yang Xiaoshan left the cave and flew to the square of the Gods Mansion competition. When he arrived, the square had already gathered disciples. Renshai, Zheng Minimum and others had all arrived. Yang Xiaoshan's arrival caused a great commotion. Several people looked at Yang Xiaoshan, who was walking in the air, with different expressions. Renshai stared at Yang Xiaoshan with an arrogant and cold look. Just when Yang Xiaoshan arrived at the square, a young disciple in a red robe with an extremely arrogant face walked out of the crowd. He came in front of Yang Xiaoshan and looked at him. Are you Yang Xiaoshan? Although Yang Xiaoshan had never seen him, he still guessed his identity, Chen Zefeng. Chen Zefeng stared at Yang Xiaoshan and stood with his hands behind his back. Meng Bei is my brother. Wait for the Shenfu competition. If you meet me, I will do my best. You can take care of yourself. After saying that, he turned and left. Soon, Zheng Yangjiang, Zileng, Zhaofeng, Li Nan and others arrived. Almost all the high-level people in Kang Shenfu arrived for this Shenfu competition. Except for Kang Xiang, who was still in retreat and failed to show up. Even the most mysterious boxing god Zhang Wanli showed up. Zheng Yangjiang glanced at all the disciples and said, since everyone is here, let's get started. Just as everyone was about to step forward to draw lots, Yang Xiaoshan suddenly stepped forward and clasped his fists to Zheng Yangjiang and said, Master, Xiaoshan has a request. I hope you will approve it. Zheng Yangjiang saw that it was Yang Xiaoshan and smiled. What do you want? Tell me. Yang Xiaoshan said, it's too troublesome and tedious to compete one by one. I want to challenge all the competing disciples by myself. Puff. Sword God Zilan puffed. Knife God Zhaofeng, Medicine God Li Nan also puffed, and even the boxing god Zhang Wanli who had just appeared also puffed. Everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan in shock, wondering if they had heard it wrong. Yang Xiaoshan wanted to challenge all the core disciples participating in the competition. Even Zenkai and Qian and Princess Wanning had their eyes wide open. You want to fight all the core disciples of the Divine Mansion alone? Zheng Yangjiang was also stunned. This request was simply unprecedented. Yang Xiaoshan nodded and said, that's right. Then he said, I will challenge all the core disciples of the Divine Mansion alone. If I win, all the rewards from the Divine Mansion competition will belong to me, right? Zheng Yangjiang stared at Yang Xiaoshan. After confirming that Yang Xiaoshan was not joking, he frowned and said, have you thought about the consequences? Yang Xiaoshan's move would undoubtedly anger all the core disciples of the Divine Mansion. In the competition, all the core disciples would not hold back, and Yang Xiaoshan would be abused miserably. If I lose, it's my own fault. Yang Xiaoshan said. Zheng Yangjiang said slowly, okay, I agree to your request. Chapter 480 I can kill him with just one hand. Hearing that the mansion master actually approved Yang Xiaoshan's request, all the core disciples looked at Yang Xiaoshan. Especially Ren Xianai, Chen Zefeng and others stared at Yang Xiaoshan like ferocious beasts, all revealing a bloodthirsty look. Yang Xiaoshan ignored the bloodthirsty look of Ren Xianai, Chen Zefeng and others, and rose from the ground, and landed in the center of the square, with a calm face. Everyone, take action. Everyone, take action. Yang Xiaoshan's voice echoed over the square. Sud Godzilla took a deep breath. This kid is crazy. And the mansion master actually agreed to this kid. Isn't this nonsense? Once the competition starts, even they can't intervene. If Yang Xiaoshan makes any mistakes, who will clean up the mess? Zenkai and Qian was also anxious. She and Wanning didn't expect that the great-grandfather actually agreed to Yang Xiaoshan's crazy behavior. Even Ren Xianai didn't dare to challenge all the core disciples of Kangshen Mansion. No, to be exact, even if the 6 sons of Kangshen joined forces, they would not dare to challenge all the core disciples of Kangshen Mansion. Yang Xiaoshan dared to challenge all the core disciples of Kangshen Mansion alone. However, once the great-grandfather agreed in person, no one could change it. Therefore, she and Princess Wanning could only worry. Chen Zefeng looked at Yang Xiaoshan standing in the center of the square, and his anger was uncontrollable. He jumped and came to Yang Xiaoshan, laughing wildly. Boy, you can't even take my punch. With you, dare to challenge all the core disciples of Shenfu? I will blow you up with one punch now. Chen Zefeng roared angrily. His whole body or a sword, and all his strength was completely released. Yang Xiaoshan is mine. No one is allowed to make a move. I will torture him to death with one hand. He was extremely angry and furious. Yang Xiaoshan challenged all the core disciples, which clearly showed his contempt for him, the 6 sons of Kangshen, and all the core disciples. As Chen Zefeng's aura surged, a blue dragon flew out. Then, a white tiger flew out. After the blue dragon and the white tiger, a huge phoenix flew out. Roar. The dragon roared, the tiger howled, and the phoenix cried. The power of the 3 supreme martial souls swept the world. It's the 3 supreme martial souls. Brother Chen actually has the 3 supreme top martial souls. All the disciples were shocked when they saw Chen Zefeng's 3 martial souls. Even Ren Xianai was shocked. Before, Chen Zefeng had fought with him, but he had never summoned his martial soul. He had guessed Chen Zefeng's martial soul, but he never thought that Chen Zefeng actually had the 3 supreme top martial souls. Zefeng, this kid, actually has the 3 supreme top martial souls. Sud Godzilla was also shocked. He and Zheng Yangjiang and other senior officials also saw Chen Zefeng's martial soul for the first time, and they were all shocked. Throughout the ages, there have been many people who have 2 supreme top martial souls, but no one has ever had 3 supreme top martial souls. When Chen Zefeng's 3 supreme top martial souls appeared, it was simply shocking. At the same time, Chen Zefeng's whole body was filled with divine light, and layer after layer of divine light illuminated the surrounding mountains one after another. The shadows of divine beasts appeared around Chen Zefeng's body. The divine body of 10,000 beasts. Zheng Yangjiang saw this, and stared at it. The divine body of 10,000 beasts is one of the strongest divine bodies in the world since ancient times. It is the strongest beast body. The 3 supreme top martial souls, the divine body of 10,000 beasts. An old ancestor of the Kangshen Mansion was shocked. After this battle, Chen Zefeng will shock the Kangshen continent. Indeed, the 3 supreme top martial souls, the divine body of 10,000 beasts. It can be imagined that once this battle spreads, Chen Zefeng will definitely shock the Kangshen continent. Chen Zefeng summoned the 3 supreme top martial souls, the divine body of 10,000 beasts, and suddenly punched Yang Xiaoshan, roaring, Yang Xiaoshan, get out of the square. The power of the 3 supreme top martial souls, the divine body of 10,000 beasts roared wildly from his fists, and instantly blasted in front of Yang Xiaoshan. The world was shaking, and cracks appeared on the ground. The ground of the square was extremely hard. All the previous Divine Mansion competitions were fine, but now, when Chen Zefeng blasted out his power, cracks appeared on the ground. The ground of the square could not bear Chen Zefeng's power. All the core disciples felt Chen Zefeng's terrifying power and their faces changed drastically. Xiaoshan, be careful. Zenkai and Qian and Wanning shouted in a hurry. Sud Godzilla and others were all worried. Even Zheng Yangjiang couldn't help but regret agreeing to Yang Xiaoshan's crazy behavior. Just when everyone thought that Yang Ocean would be blown away by Chen Zefeng's punch, suddenly, Yang Ocean's whole body was surging with light, and the aura of eternal immortality swept the world. One after another, divine light rushed into the sky. Yang Ocean punched out. The power of the middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm and the power of eternal time roared out from the fist. Boom. Yang Ocean's fist power collided with Chen Zefeng's fist power. The two fists collided. The world was shaken. Everyone's heart seemed to be hit hard. In the eyes of everyone saw that Chen Zefeng was like being hit by an invisible huge force, and he retreated repeatedly. After retreating hundreds of steps, he was able to stabilize his body. What? Everyone was shocked. Chen Zefeng, who was at the peak of the late 10th level of the Emperor Realm, possessed 3 supreme top martial spirits and the body of the 10,000 beasts, was actually blasted back. Middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm. Zheng Yangjiang, Zilong and others looked at Yang Ocean in surprise. They didn't expect that Yang Ocean had broken through to the middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm. It was even more unexpected that Yang Ocean, who broke through the middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm, was so powerful that he could actually repel Chen Zefeng. A middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm repelled the peak of the late 10th level of the Emperor Realm. And it was a peak of the late 10th level of the Emperor Realm with 3 supreme top martial spirits and the body of the 10,000 beasts. What kind of concept is this? This is too strong. Many disciples of Kang Shenfu were shocked. Chen Zefeng couldn't believe that he was actually blasted back. The 3 supreme top martial spirits are good, but with the power of your 3 supreme top martial spirits and the power of the 10,000 beasts divine body, you are not my opponent. Yang Ocean looked at Chen Zefeng calmly. Call out your destiny. Use the power of your destiny to fight me. Chen Zefeng's face was gloomy. Okay, since you want to see the power of my destiny, then today I will let you feel the power of my destiny. At this point, the light of his whole body surged again. Everyone stared at Chen Zefeng closely. No one in Kangshan Mansion has seen Chen Zefeng's destiny. There are many opinions about Chen Zefeng's destiny. Some people say that Chen Zefeng's destiny is the same as Ren Xianai, which is a 9-fold destiny. But some people think that Chen Zefeng's destiny is only an 8-fold destiny. Under the gaze of everyone, boom. Chen Zefeng's destiny of the Sea of Gods and the world broke through the air and flew out. Suddenly, the space shook violently. Chen Zefeng's destiny was golden and more than 900 miles long. It was coiled in the sky, like a golden river in the sky. Chapter 481 How could there be such a destiny in the world? 9-fold destiny. Many disciples of the Divine Palace exclaimed when they saw Chen Zefeng's destiny. Chen Zefeng's destiny is indeed 9-fold. The world is shocked when the 9-fold destiny comes out. Zheng Yangjiang also said excitedly. No matter which era or which super sect, if a disciple with a 9-fold destiny is born, it is absolutely the supreme honor and will definitely shock the world. Ren Xianai's face sank. He didn't expect that Chen Zefeng would cultivate the most difficult 9-fold destiny like him. However, it must be admitted that Chen Zefeng, who has the 3 supreme top martial spirits and the body of the 10,000 beasts, has amazing talent. It is not surprising that Chen Zefeng has cultivated the 9-fold destiny. In the shock of everyone, Chen Zefeng's light shook again, and another golden 9-fold destiny flew out. Then came the 3rd, 4th, 5th, until the 10th one stopped. 10 9-fold destiny. This is Chen Zefeng's destiny. It is only one less 9-fold destiny than Ren Xianai. 10 9-fold destinies coiled in the sky, emitting the powerful force of heaven. The power was so strong that many disciples on the scene were suffocated. Countless disciples practiced their skills to feel better, and this was just the pressure of 10 9-fold destinies. Under the golden light of 10 9-fold destinies, Chen Zefeng's whole body seemed to be coated with layers of golden light. He stood proudly between heaven and earth, and looked at Yang Ocean coldly. Yang Ocean, this is my destiny. Are you ready? Everyone looked at Yang Ocean. It's just 10 9-fold destinies, not 14 9-fold destinies. Yang Ocean said indifferently. Everyone was stunned. Zheng Yangjiang, Sword Godzilla and others all smiled bitterly. This kid, it's just, I don't know how to say him. He actually looked down on 10 ninefold destinies. Chen Zefeng was also amused and laughed angrily. Okay, it is said that your soul ring is the strongest and invincible. It is a 200,000 year soul ring. Summon your soul ring. I want to see whether the power of your 200,000 year soul ring is stronger or the power of my ninefold destiny is stronger. Hearing Chen Zefeng talking about the 200,000 year soul ring, all the disciples were very excited. Ever since the son of Killing Mengbei was frightened, the news about Yang Xiaoshen's martial soul and soul ring has been spread like wildfire. To defeat you, I don't need the power of my soul ring at all. Yang Xiaoshen's face was normal. I have also cultivated a destiny, and my one destiny is enough to crush your 10 ninefold destiny. When Yang Xiaoshen said this, he was shocked. What? Yang Xiaoshen is only at the second level of the Emperor realm, but he actually cultivated a destiny. Impossible. Only the peak of the 10th level of the Emperor realm can cultivate a destiny. How can he, a second level Emperor realm, cultivate a destiny? Many disciples were in an uproar. Zheng Yangjiang and everyone in Zilong were shocked. It is unheard of that one can cultivate destiny at the second level of the Emperor realm. This is really too absurd. The destiny cultivated by Yang Xiaoshen is stronger than the 9th level destiny? This is impossible. The strongest destiny in the world is the 9th level destiny. Yes, the 9th level destiny is already the strongest destiny in the world, and there can't be a stronger destiny in the world. Many disciples shook their heads after being surprised. Many disciples were unconvinced. Chen Zefeng also had a look of disbelief on his face. He suddenly urged the power of 10 9th level destinies and punched Yang Xiaoshen. Suddenly, the 10 9th level destinies surged with light and the infinite power of heaven, the power of the 3 supreme top martial spirits, and the power of the 10,000 beasts roared out from his fist power. Boom. The space seemed to have been bombarded with a destructive bombardment, and a booming sound was heard. Chen Zefeng's fist power formed 10 golden terrifying invincible storms. Wherever the fist power passed, all the stone bricks on the ground of the square were lifted up. The sound of the golden storm fist force alone caused many disciples to have severe pain in their ears and a buzzing in their heads. Yang Xiaoshen, if you have the ability, don't use the power of your spirit ring. I want to see how you can take on the power of my destiny. Chen Zefeng shouted fiercely, as if crazy. Yang Xiaoshen stood there, watching the opponent's 10 ninefold destiny force to form an invincible storm. With a calm face, he activated the Hunyuan destiny of the Sea of Gods. When Yang Xiaoshen activated the Sea of Gods, suddenly, everyone's feet shook violently. Everyone was standing unsteadily. What's going on? Someone said in surprise. Then everyone saw that the airflow in the space began to become violent and uneasy, as if it was afraid of something coming out. And the ninefold destiny above Chen Zefeng's head was also restless. Chen Zefeng actually felt that his ninefold destiny was afraid, and all 10 ninefold destiny were afraid. What's going on? What is his ninefold destiny afraid of? In the midst of everyone's doubts and commotion, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshen's whole body exploded with golden light. A terrifying and huge destiny flew out from his sea of divine world. When this terrifying and huge destiny flew out, Chen Zefeng's ninefold destiny actually trembled, crawled, and completely lost its light. The golden light of the ninefold destiny seemed to be completely suppressed by some force and completely dissipated. When Yang Xiaoshen's destiny was suspended in the sky, like an aircraft carrier, Chen Zefeng's 10 ninefold destiny were like 10 small wooden boats, swaying there, as if they were about to be blown away, scattered, and exploded at any time. Everyone was shocked. What kind of destiny is this? How can there be such a destiny in the world? 12,960 miles. Zheng Yangjiang was stunned. Sword God Zilong and Fist God Zhang Wanli were stunned. Zheng Qian Qian, Princess Wanning and all the disciples, all the masters of Kangshan Mansion were stunned. They never thought that there was such a huge destiny in the world. Chen Zefeng's ninefold destiny is more than 900 miles long, which is big enough, but now, Chen Zefeng's 10 ninefold destinies connected together are not as big as the destiny in front of him. When Yang Xiaoshen's destiny was suspended in the sky, the Hunyuan power felt like a waterfall, the mountains shook, and the earth cracked. Feeling the Hunyuan power, Zheng Yangjiang's face changed drastically, and he thought of a possibility. He trembled all over. This is above the heaven, the Hunyuan power. Above the heaven. Sword God Zilling, Fist God Zhangwanli and others were all shocked, thinking of an extremely ancient myth. Hunyuan destiny. This is the Hunyuan destiny of the Hunyuan space. Oh my god, he has triggered the Hunyuan fate tribulation of the ages. An ancient ancestor was so excited that he was incoherent. Hunyuan destiny. Hunyuan fate tribulation. Even if Renshai, Chen Zefeng and others had never heard of Hunyuan destiny, had never heard of Hunyuan fate tribulation, now they also knew that there was Hunyuan space above the heaven. They also knew that Hunyuan destiny was a stronger destiny than the ninefold destiny. As everyone was shocked, Yang Xiaoshan punched out. From his fist, the power of the primordial realm burst out. Chen Zefeng's 10 ninefold heavenly powers exploded. Chapter 482 Yang Xiaoshan, summon your martial soul and soul ring. The power of Chen Zefeng's 3 supreme top martial spirits, and the power of the 10,000 beasts body were like bubbles, all of which were blown away. The mixed power, with an unstoppable momentum, blasted towards Chen Zefeng. Chen Zefeng was terrified, and punched out with both fists wildly, and at the same time, summoned a blue light shield in front of him. Blue Guardian. Blue Guardian is a god level shield in ancient times. Bang. The mixed power blasted onto the Blue Guardian. The Blue Guardian was blown away. Chen Zefeng was also blown away at the same time. Chen Zefeng was swept away like a fallen leaf. He was blasted up and smashed through countless mountains and palaces. Finally, he fell on a mountain, vomiting blood, and the Blue Guardian was dim. The divine light and the shadow of the beast on his body suddenly dissipated. The 10 ninefold destiny shook like candlelight, and were about to collapse. The sound of rocks rolling down continued for a long time. The disciples gasped. Once Hunyuan appears, the world is invincible. An ancient ancestor murmured. This is a sentence from an ancient divine book. Now, he understood the true meaning of this sentence. The world was silent. Yang Xiaoshan stood there. His whole body was filled with eternal divine light, and his head was covered with Hunyuan destiny. Is this going to become the eternal god of Hunyuan? The masters of Kang Shenfu were shocked. Zheng Yangjiang and Zilong were also speechless. The eternal divine body has already shocked the world, and now there is another Hunyuan destiny. This is really. They are at a loss for words. Even Chen Zefeng, who is at the peak of the 10th level of the Emperor realm, has 10 9th level destinies, 3 supreme top martial spirits and the body of the 10,000 beasts, was almost blown up. Invincible. Now, the only feeling everyone has is invincible. If Chen Zefeng hadn't used a god level shield to block it at the end, he might have been blown up. Even Chen Zefeng, who is as strong as Chen Zefeng, was blown up, who can still stop Yang Xiaoshan's Hunyuan destiny. It turns out that what he said just now was true. A disciple said tremblingly. Just now, Yang Xiaoshan said that he had cultivated a destiny that was enough to crush Chen Zefeng's 10 ninefold destiny, but everyone did not believe it. Now, everyone believed it. It turned out that there was a destiny in the world that could crush 10 ninefold destiny. I wonder what kind of martial soul and soul ring Yang Shen has. A disciple suddenly said with a chuckle. Yang Xiaoshan's martial soul and soul ring are a mystery. Now, after seeing the power of the eternal divine body and the Hunyuan destiny, everyone is even more curious about Yang Xiaoshan's martial soul and soul ring. Originally, everyone did not believe the rumor that Yang Xiaoshan had a 200,000 year soul ring, but now, everyone is convinced that Yang Xiaoshan's soul ring is 200,000 years old. In everyone's opinion, Yang Xiaoshan can even create miracles such as the eternal divine body and the Hunyuan destiny, so it is normal for him to have a 200,000 year soul ring. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan looked at Ren Xianai, the son of Kang Shen, who had not made a move. Ren Xianai, make a move. Everyone looked at Ren Xianai. Ren Xianai came back to his senses from the shock and his face was ugly. Yang Xiaoshan, a second level emperor, actually cultivated the Hunyuan destiny that he had never heard of. He clenched his fists. These days, many disciples of Kang Shen Mansion have been discussing that Yang Xiaoshan will be in charge of Kang Shen Mansion in the future, instead of him. Therefore, these days, he is not only dissatisfied with Yang Xiaoshan, but also regards Yang Xiaoshan as an enemy who wants to seize his position as the lord of Kang Shen Mansion. Suddenly, Renshini's whole body was full of power. Everyone saw that a series of amazing lights fell from the sky, and then a series of earthy yellow lights surged from the earth, and continued to gather on Renshini. Renshini's whole body was alternately shining with divine light, and a power from heaven and earth emanated from him. He stood there, as if he had completely merged with heaven and earth. He is the sky, he is the earth. Heaven and earth divine body. Seeing Renshini's changes, everyone was shocked. Even Zheng Yangjiang and Sword God Zilong's eyes changed. Heaven and earth divine body. This is the divine body that the Lord of Kangshen had back then. It is known as the strongest divine body in Kangshen continent. Renshini seemed to be the Lord of Kangshen, with divine light surging all over his body. All 11 ninefold fates flew out, and golden light filled the air. Just as the 11 ninefold fates flew out, suddenly, the space around Renshini shook, the earth trembled, and a heart-pounding breath and power emanated from Renshini's body. The ancestors of Kangshen Mansion were shocked. What was this? Suddenly, a huge martial soul, that was like an ancient sacred mountain flew out of Renshini's body. When this martial soul, that was like an ancient sacred mountain flew out, a breath of the Supreme King overwhelmed the world, and the martial souls in the depths of everyone's souls trembled. Renshini's martial soul turned out to be a huge black bear, but this black bear actually had 2 horns on its head. A terrifying and invincible breath spread from the black bear. It's the Supreme King. This is the martial soul of the Supreme King. An ancient ancestor of Kangshen Mansion felt the aura of the Supreme King of Renshini's martial soul, and lost his voice in horror. Everyone was shocked and shocked. The Supreme King, it's actually the Supreme King. Sword God Zilong was also greatly shocked. Supreme King. Zenkai and Qian looked at Renshini's Supreme King martial spirit, and her pretty face turned pale. No wonder when she asked her great-grandfather about Renshini's martial spirit, her great-grandfather kept silent. It turned out that it was the Supreme King martial spirit. At this moment, suddenly, a purple-red halo appeared around the black bear's body, and outside the halo, there was a faint red halo. The red halo represents a 100,000-year soul ring. But Renshini's soul ring has 2 red halos, and the other one is lighter. A soul ring that is nearly 200,000 years old. This is actually a soul ring that is nearly 200,000 years old. Everyone was shocked when they saw Renshini's soul ring. Even though Zheng Yangjiang already knew Renshini's martial spirit and soul ring, he couldn't hide his shock when he saw Renshini's martial spirit and soul ring again. This is the Supreme King martial spirit and a soul ring that is nearly 200,000 years old. The only one in the world. A soul ring that is nearly 200,000 years old. Everyone was shocked when they looked at Renshini's soul ring. Big Brother is invincible. Suddenly, a disciple shouted excitedly, Big Brother is invincible. Many disciples who followed Renshini shouted at the top of their lungs. The entire Kangshen Mansion was shaking for Renshini's martial soul and soul ring. The power of the soul ring that was nearly 200,000 years old enveloped the world, and the world sank. Renshini stood there, staring at Yangtze Ocean, his eyes full of fanatical fighting spirit. Yangtze Ocean, summon your martial soul and soul ring. I don't believe that your soul ring is really 200,000 years old. Everyone held their breath. Is Yangtze Ocean's soul ring really 200,000 years old? Zheng Yangjiang, Zilong and others all looked at Yangtze Ocean without blinking. Zenkai and Qian and Wanning also stared at Yangtze Ocean closely. Since you want to see my martial soul and soul ring so much, as you wish, Yangtze Ocean said calmly. When he finished speaking, the space began to vibrate violently, and the airflow began to boil. The world suddenly darkened. Everyone saw a martial soul many times larger than the ancient sacred mountain flying out of Yangtze Ocean's body. Chapter 483, Soul Ring of the Lord of the Abyss. A roar of dragon resounded through the heavens and earth. A huge black dragon many times bigger than the black bear appeared in front of everyone. The black dragon was burning with golden flames all over its body, and its eyes were bloodshot. The aura of the Supreme King was like a hurricane, extremely violent. Moreover, the aura of the Supreme King of the Black Dragon completely overwhelmed the aura of the Supreme King of the Black Bear. The Black Dragon stood high in the sky, and the surging power enveloped the heaven and earth. The Black Bear was restless and even showed a look of fear. Supreme King. Everyone looked at Yang Ocean's dark golden flame dragon in shock. Yang Ocean's martial spirit was not only the supreme king, but also the supreme king martial spirit that was stronger than the black bear. Just like the supreme martial spirit, there are also strong and weak points, and now, Yang Ocean's dark golden flame dragon's momentum completely overwhelmed Renshai's black bear's momentum. Just when everyone was shocked by the power of Yang Ocean's dark golden flame dragon, suddenly, a golden red halo appeared around the dark golden flame dragon's body. Outside the golden red light circle, there was another faint golden red light circle. Golden red soul ring? What kind of soul ring is this? Many old ancestors and even ancient ancestors were shocked. They had never heard of golden red soul rings in the world. Just as everyone was shocked, suddenly, in the golden red light circle, a huge and boundless dark figure loomed. When this huge and boundless dark figure appeared, the world trembled, and an aura that even Zheng Yang, Sword Godzilla and others feared swept the world. Boundless and vast power roared up. The 9 heavens changed color. I saw thunder and lightning above the 9 heavens, and the whole world became restless. The earth was cracking. The mountains were collapsing. In front of this vast power, the ancient ancestors and old ancestors were terrified. Zheng Yang looked at the huge and boundless dark figure in fear. He was too familiar with this dark figure, because he had seen this figure many times, and felt the boundless dark power of this figure many times. Lord of the Abyss. Lord of the Abyss Soul Ring. You killed the Lord of the Abyss. Zheng Yang's voice trembled. The Lord of the Abyss Soul Ring. Many ancient ancestors of Kangshen Mansion who had never seen this dark figure could no longer hold on and all fell to the ground. Even the 4 gods, Sword Godzilla and Fist God Zhang Wanli, all fell to the ground. All the disciples of Kangshen Mansion collapsed to the ground, horrified. Oh my god. Lord of the Abyss? Exclamation mark. Yang Ocean's soul ring was actually the Lord of the Abyss. This. Even Renshai, who had just looked proud and arrogant, was trembling with fear, as if he had something to release, but couldn't release it, and he kept trembling there. The Lord of the Abyss, the most invincible existence in Kangshen continent. In recent years, there have been people who have been criticizing that the Lord of the Soul Beast Forest Abyss may have been killed, but everyone just laughed and believed that it was nonsense. Now, the Lord of the Abyss is in front of everyone, reappearing in the world, but has become someone else's soul ring. Is this a dream? It's not a dream. Once the martial soul is out, who can compete with it? A disciple said in a lost voice. Once the martial soul is out, who can compete with it? This is a sentence that the son of Killing Mengbei often muttered after being frightened silly. Now, everyone finally understands why the son of Killing Mengbei was frightened silly, and finally understands what the son of Killing Mengbei saw at the beginning. Even Chen Zefeng, the son of the beast god, who was just vomiting blood by Yang Ocean, was so frightened that he almost fainted. Fortunately, Yang Ocean did not use the power of martial soul and soul ring just now, otherwise, I'm afraid that he would have become a fool just like Mengbei. Yang Ocean stood there and did not activate the power of the Abyss Lord's soul ring. He shouted to Renshai, attack. Yang Ocean's shout frightened Renshai and made him retreat again and again. Renshai's face was full of fear, real fear. Just now, although Yang Ocean's Unio and destiny frightened him, it was only fear. Now, it was real fear, and he didn't even have the courage to attack. Facing the Abyss Lord who was nearly 2 million years old, who would dare to attack? Seeing that the other party did not dare to attack, Yang Ocean activated the power of the Abyss Lord's soul ring, and with a buzzing sound, he suddenly punched out. When Yang Ocean punched out, the boundless dark power of the Abyss Lord was overwhelming. The world was left with only the dark and boundless sea of fist power. Renshai looked at the endless darkness coming over there, and roared. Everyone attack together. At this point, he suppressed his fear and frantically activated the power of the soul ring, the power of the heaven and earth body, and the power of the 11 ninefold destiny, and punched out with both fists. Zheng Minimum saw this and shouted, everyone, attack together. She also summoned her destiny. Her destiny was the 8th level destiny, and there were 9 8th levels of destiny. The other core disciples of Kangshen Mansion also summoned their destiny. Some of those who had not cultivated their destiny urged the power of the sword heart, and some urged the power of the divine body to the extreme. Hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion bombarded with all their strength. What was the scene when hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion attacked together? The sky was bright. The terrifying power awed and shook the world. It seemed that the world was about to be blown away. These core disciples of Kangshen Mansion were the most talented disciples in Kangshen continent. Each of them had extraordinary combat power. Even if they were not as strong as Ren Xianai and Chen Zefeng, they were still incomparable. The power of hundreds of people gathered together to destroy the world. Boom. The power of the Lord of the Abyss collided with the power of hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion. The space was frustrated. The loud sound of destruction continued. The world was extinguished. The terrifying power exploded. Everyone saw that the power of hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion, countless fates, and countless divine bodies were still blown up. Even if Yang Zai Ocean can only exert a little power of the Lord of the Abyss now, hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion are still unable to resist. Ren Xianai was the first to be blown away. Then came Zheng Minimum, Luo Zhao and others. Hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion were blown away. In all directions, the mountains around Kangshen Mansion were blown up. One person fought against hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion alone. Hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion were defeated. What is invincible? This is invincible. Hundreds of core disciples of Kangshen Mansion joined forces, but they couldn't stop the power of Yang Zai Ocean's million-year soul ring. Zheng Kai and Qian and Princess Wanning opened their mouths wide. Even Zheng Yangjiang, Zilong and others were deeply shocked by the scene before their eyes. As the Lord of Kangshen Mansion, Zheng Yangjiang had seen countless evil geniuses and invincible geniuses, but no evil genius had ever dared to challenge all the core disciples of Kangshen Mansion, and no invincible genius had ever won over all the core disciples of Kangshen Mansion. Only Yang Zai Ocean. Looking at Ren Xianai and others buried in the sand and stones, Yang Zai Ocean did not make any more moves, and took back his martial spirit in the soul ring of the Lord of the Abyss. The darkness disappeared, and the world returned to normal. I dare not write such exciting things again. Since the last year, my heart has not been well supplied with blood. I have been writing too exciting these 2 days and my heart is uncomfortable. Chapter 484. Something happened in the capital of 10,000 gods. Seeing Yang Zai Ocean taking back his martial spirit and spirit ring, all the ancestors of Kangshen Mansion relaxed, as if they had survived a catastrophe. A disciple of the Emperor realm actually made them feel like they had survived a catastrophe. Yang Zai Ocean took back the Hunio and destiny, then came to Zheng Yangjiang, clasped his fists and said, "Palace Master, I won this challenge, didn't I?" Zheng Yangjiang swallowed and calmed down the storm in his heart. He looked at Yang Zai Ocean, his eyes had changed again and again, and he smiled bitterly. "You won." He thought about the fate and results of Yang Zai Ocean's challenge to all the core disciples of the God Mansion, but he didn't expect this result. Sword God Zilong, Fist God Zhang Wanli and others looked at Yang Zai Ocean with different expressions. Under the gaze of everyone, Zheng Yangjiang handed over all the destiny stones, elixir, and top grade spirit stones, to be rewarded this time to Yang Zai Ocean. Yang Zai Ocean took over the destiny stones and was happy. With so many destiny stones, he can carry more Hunio and destiny. He put away all the destiny stone, elixir, and spiritual stones. However, he even summoned the Abyss Lord Soul Ring this time, but Kang Xiang was not alarmed. Could it be that Kang Xiang entered the deepest space of Kangshen Mansion and closed the life and death gate? At this moment, suddenly, an old ancestor of Kangshen Mansion flew over with a panicked look on his face and said to Zheng Yangjiang, "Master, there is news from the Once Hen Imperial capital. The 4 great masters of the demon sect led hundreds of millions of troops to attack the Once Hen Imperial capital." What? Everyone was shocked. The 4 great masters of the demon sect actually led hundreds of millions of troops to attack the Once Hen Imperial capital. The Once Hen Empire is the first empire of the Kangshen continent. The Once Hen Imperial capital is of vital importance to the Kangshen continent. If the Once Hen Imperial capital is destroyed, it will be devastating for everyone on the Kangshen continent. When Yang Xiaoshan heard that the 4 great masters of the demon sect led hundreds of millions of troops to attack the Wan's Hen imperial capital, his face changed, broke through the air, and rushed back to the Wan's Hen imperial capital with all his strength. Seeing this, Zheng Yangjiang also said to Sword God Zilong and Knife God Zhao Feng in a hurry, "Quick! Gather the army quickly and lead the army to the imperial capital for support. Also, order the masters of the surrounding empires and surrounding cities to rush to the Wan's Hen imperial capital for support. The Wan's Hen imperial capital must not be in trouble." Sword God Zilong, Knife God Zhao Feng and others also knew that the situation was urgent, and they gathered the army of Kangshen Mansion with all their strength. Suddenly, the sound of horns sounded in Kangshen Mansion. Countless armies rushed here from all parts of Kangshen Mansion. "Great-grandfather, I want to go too." Zheng Qian came to Zheng Yangjiang and said anxiously. Zheng Yangjiang looked at Zheng Qian, Wanning and others who were extremely anxious, and nodded and said, "Okay, Kangshen Mansion disciples, who still have the strength to fight, if you want to go, go." Only after going through the trials of life and death can these Kangshen Mansion disciples grow rapidly and truly. Therefore, not long after Yang Xiaoshan left Kangshen Mansion, one after another large military spaceships also flew out of Kangshen Mansion and rushed to Wan's Hen imperial capital at a high speed. Yang Xiaoshan came to the place, agreed with Anlang and whistled, "Old dragon, Wan's Hen imperial capital has an accident, get on board, let's go." Suddenly, a black figure soared into the sky and landed on the Abyss spaceship. It was Anlang. Yang Xiaoshan drove the Abyss spaceship with all his strength and rushed back to Wan's Hen imperial capital. The Abyss spaceship turned into a stream of light, constantly tearing through the void and approaching Wan's Hen imperial capital. Driven by the top-grade spirit stone, the speed of the Abyss spaceship was amazingly fast, but Yang Xiaoshan, standing in the spaceship, was still anxious and still thought the spaceship was too slow. At this time, outside the gate of Wan's Hen imperial capital, there was only an army of undead spirits and ghosts that could not be seen at a glance, like waves, submerged to the sky. The Wan's Hen empire is vast and boundless, and the city walls are countless miles long. However, at this moment, the millions of undead spirits and ghosts had surrounded every inch of the city walls of the Wan's Hen empire. Countless undead spirits and ghosts are frantically bombarding the city walls. In the imperial capital, the millions of troops of the Wan's Hen empire frantically bombarded wave after wave of undead spirits and ghosts. However, there are too many undead spirits and ghosts. After bombarding one wave, another wave surges up. Even though the millions of troops of the Wan's Hen empire are protected by the imperial city's prohibitions, looking at the dense and endless undead spirits and ghosts, their scalps are numb. At this time, in the imperial capital, all the chambers of commerce, all the sects, and all the family masters have come to the edge of the city wall and fought together to resist the millions of undead spirits and ghosts. Everyone knows that, if the gates of the imperial capital are breached, no one in the imperial capital will be spared. Therefore, everyone is desperately bombarding the undead spirits and ghosts that surge up. Wang Guanfeng, the great emperor of the 10,000 gods, and all the ancestors of the 10,000 gods imperial palace also came to the gate and attacked. Everyone in the mansion of the gods also came out, and together with the major families, they supported the army of the 10,000 gods empire. The heart-connecting demon ape closely guarded the people of the Yang family, and kept swinging the 10,000 feet long black crystal iron chain in his hand, blasting one after another of the dead spirits and ghosts. Even the old ancestor of the 10,000 gods imperial palace, Wan Shui, who had never appeared in the world, and the medicine god Feng Yiming also came out. The two of them were in the depths of the void, and with one palm, they blasted a large number of dead spirits. Just as everyone was constantly bombarding and killing the undead spirits and ghosts that were surging up, suddenly, the master of the 10,000 gods imperial palace came to Wang Guangfeng in a panic and reported, "Your Majesty, I don't know what happened to the head of the He family. He suddenly went crazy and led everyone in the He family to attack and kill our imperial palace masters." What? Wang Guangfeng's face changed. The He family is also a super family in the 10,000 gods imperial capital. If the He family rebels and kills indiscriminately in the imperial capital, it will definitely be a big cancer. The masters of the He family all have black demonic energy coming out of their chests. The master of the Imperial Palace said again. The demon in the heart of Taoism. Wang Guangfeng's face darkened. He finally understood why these masters of the He family went crazy. At this time, another master of the Imperial Palace came to report that the masters of the Zhang family also went crazy and attacked the masters of the Imperial Palace, and they all had black demonic energy coming out of their chests. Zhang family. Another super family. Kill. Kill all those who have been demoned by the heart of Taoism. Wang Guangfeng said coldly. The He family and the Zhang family usually have a good relationship with the Wanzhen Imperial House, but if the He family and the Zhang family are not killed at this moment, then the Imperial capital will be in chaos, which will be a big problem. So, he did not hesitate at all. Just as the masters of the Wanzhen Imperial Palace were killing the masters of the He family and the Zhang family, suddenly, a strange flute sounded. The flute sound, with invisible power, actually passed through the Imperial capital's restrictions and reached the ears of everyone in the Wanzhen Imperial City. Everyone felt a severe headache, as if they were pierced by thousands of needles. It's the sound of the ghost. Wang Guangfeng's face changed. The sound of the ghost is the supreme secret of the ancient ghost sect. This magic sound is invisible and terrifying. To crack this sound, the only way is to find this person and kill him. Unexpectedly, even the masters of the ghost sect have joined the 4 major magic sects. The sound of the ghost kept ringing. The crowd was affected by the sound of the ghost and the offensive was slow. Countless dead spirits and ghosts rushed to the city wall. Chapter 485. The master is back. At this time, on a mountain outside the Imperial capital, the son of Hades, Yanping, saw countless dead spirits and ghosts surging over the walls of the Imperial capital. He smiled coldly, his eyes full of bloodthirsty color. Pass the order down. The first people to be destroyed after breaking through the Imperial capital are the people in the God's Mansion. Yang Ping said to his Hades Gate master. Yes, master. The sound of ghosts continued to enter the minds of the people in the Imperial capital, and everyone had a splitting headache. More and more dead spirits and ghosts were surging over the walls of the Imperial capital. Seeing that the walls of the Imperial capital were about to be continuously eaten by dead spirits and ghosts, at this moment, suddenly, a sound of a sky-shaking dragon roar resounded through the world. This sound of the sky-shaking dragon roar formed 10 huge dragon-shaped sound waves. Wherever the dragon-shaped sound waves passed, countless dead spirits and ghosts were plowed away and blown into pieces. From a distance, 10 huge roads were plowed out among the millions of dead spirits and ghosts. Hearing this sound wave of the sky-shaking dragon roar, everyone looked in shock. A huge spaceship crashed into the army of tens of millions of dead spirits and ghosts. Under the terrifying force of the spaceship, pieces of dead spirits and ghosts were knocked away and exploded. At the bow of the spaceship stood a peerless boy of 15 or 16 years old, and next to the boy stood a tall man in black. Seeing this boy, the face of Yanping, the son of the underworld god, changed, as if he had seen his nemesis, and the pride and arrogance on his face just now completely disappeared. The person who came was Yang Xiaoshan. In the Imperial capital, everyone was surprised to see the spaceship and Yang Xiaoshan. It's my brother. Father and mother, my brother is back. Yang Linga saw Yang Xiaoshan, her pretty face full of joy, and shouted. Yang Chao and Huang Ying saw Yang Xiaoshan, their faces were also full of joy. The young master is back. Kill. Kill these bastards for me. The tanks and demon ape roared. The roar shook the sky, and the 10,000 feet long black crystal iron chain in his hand was swung and whistled, and pieces of dead spirits and ghosts were swung and exploded. At this moment, Yang Xiaoshan on the spaceship broke through the air, roared loudly, and used the dragon art with all his strength. Suddenly, 100,000 true essence dragons flew out and coiled around Yang Xiaoshan's body. 100,000 true essence dragons roared, and all the dead spirits and ghosts around were blown away. A vacuum zone was formed within 100 miles around Yang Xiaoshan. Then, Yang Xiaoshan punched out with both fists. Bang 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 bang. A series of dense bangs sounded, and the power of time accompanied by his fists blasted to the end of the sky. Wherever the fists passed, the dead spirits and ghosts were all turned into grains of time sand. Everyone in the Imperial capital was shocked when they saw this scene. Good. 3,000 Emperor Yang gods. Some family disciples cheered. But at this moment, endless dead spirits and ghosts rushed towards Yang's Eye Ocean. These dead spirits and ghosts roared miserably, and the death and ghost energy in the sky turned into an endless sea, trying to swallow Yang's Eye Ocean. Looking at the dead spirits and ghosts that rushed over, Yang's Eye Ocean's eyes were cold, and the 12,960 Li Hunio and Destiny flew out. His whole body turned, and his fists kept punching out. At this moment, Yang's Eye Ocean punched out hundreds of punches. Blasts in all directions. The power of Hunio and Destiny roared and flew out. All the dead spirits and ghosts that rushed over were all shocked to death, and turned into powder. Everyone was stunned when they saw the 12,960 Li Hunio and Destiny above Yang's Eye Ocean's head. Even the great emperor of 10,000 gods Wan Guanfeng, the ancestor of 10,000 gods Wan Shui, and the medicine god Feng Yiming were stunned. The son of the Hades, Yanping, the corpse demon, the blood demon, the evil Buddha and other masters also looked incredible when they saw Yang's Eye Ocean's destiny. The 9th heavenly destiny is only more than 900 miles. What kind of destiny is this? How can it be so huge? One by one, the peerless masters were stunned. This is Hunio and Destiny. Hunio above the heavens. An extremely ancient ancestor was so excited that he was incoherent. The creation god book records that once Hunio appears, the world will be invincible. Hunio and Destiny is born. As the excited voice of this extremely ancient ancestor sounded, everyone was shocked. Hunio and Destiny. There really is Hunio and Destiny in the world. Wan Shui was also so excited that tears came to his eyes, and he roared. It turned out to be Hunio and Destiny. God bless my Kangshan continent. God bless my Kangshan continent. The ancestors of the family and the ancestors of the sect shouted excitedly. Kill. Kill these bastards for me. Young master is invincible. Tanks and Demon Ape roared even more. Yangping, the son of the Hades, and others were shocked when they heard that Yang's Eye Ocean had cultivated Hunio and Destiny. Hunio and Destiny, this. The corpse demon felt his head buzzing. This kid is already perverted enough, and now he has cultivated Hunio and Destiny. If he continues to grow, how can this be? Kill him at all costs. The son of Hades, Jingping, suppressed his fear and said angrily, and at the same time, asked the masters of the Yinhan sect to use the Yinhan sound to deal with Yang's Eye Ocean. Suddenly, the invisible and infinite Yinhan sound formed billions of invisible needles, piercing Yang's Eye Ocean's soul. However, the terrifying Yinhan sound had no effect on Yang's Eye Ocean at all. Yang's Eye Ocean continued to bombard the surrounding dead spirits and ghosts. Fists kept punching. Moreover, Yang's Eye Ocean urged the true energy of Danshan and all the acupoints. 1,296 golden light pillars shot up into the sky, and the world turned into a golden color. Even the death and ghost energy of billions of dead spirits and ghosts could not cover the golden pillars, nor could they cover the golden light. In a few dozen breaths, Yang's Eye Ocean had already punched tens of thousands of times. It can be seen that Yang's Eye Ocean's punching speed is so fast that from a distance, only the afterimage of Yang's Eye Ocean's punches can be seen. Fast. It's too fast. Strong, really strong. There is no dead spirit or ghost that can stop the power of Yang's Eye Ocean's destiny, and there is no dead spirit or ghost that can stop the time power of Yang's Eye Ocean's eternal body. The dark dragon guarded Yang's Eye Ocean and kept punching. Every time he punched, he would hit the end of the sky. The terrifying fist wave of the dark dragon formed an endless sea of darkness. The masters of the imperial capital were all shocked by the strength of the dark dragon. Yang's Eye Ocean was tired of killing, and directly summoned his martial soul and soul ring. Suddenly, the world darkened, and the dark golden flame dragon martial soul, which was many times larger than the ancient sacred mountain, flew out, and the aura of the Supreme King overwhelmed the world. This is the Supreme King martial soul. Medicine god Feng Yiming said with a chuckle. It's actually the Supreme King. Wan Guanfeng, the emperor of all gods, was shocked regarding Yang's Eye Ocean's martial soul. These days, masters from all sides of the 10,000 gods empire have also been speculating, and now everyone has finally seen Yang's Eye Ocean's martial soul. Then, a golden red soul ring appeared around the body of the dark golden flame dragon. In the golden red soul ring, the huge dark body of the Lord of the Abyss appeared. Billions of undead spirits and ghosts could not see the end, but at this moment, the figure of the Lord of the Abyss appeared in the sky, and almost completely obscured the billions of undead spirits and ghosts. The boundless power of the Lord of the Abyss was so strong, that the earth cracked and everyone was suffocated. The walls of the Imperial capital were shaking. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, Soul Ring appears. The world is shocked. Feeling the boundless power of the Lord of the Abyss, everyone was shocked. What kind of soul ring is this? The ancient ancestors trembled. Medicine god Feng Yiming looked at the boundless dark figure, but his whole body trembled, remembering the scene he saw when he went deep into the Soul Beast forest to look for the magic medicine. What is this? The one in the abyss. Feng Yiming trembled. The one in the abyss. The ancient ancestors heard what they thought of, and they were all shocked. The Lord of the Abyss? The Lord of the Abyss. The Imperial capital was shocked. The huge and boundless dark figure in front of them was the Lord of the Abyss. Perhaps it was too shocking. The Imperial capital was silent, so no one spoke. Yang Xiaoshan summoned the Black Dragon Martial Soul and the Lord of the Abyss Soul Ring. His whole body was full of divine light, and his fist suddenly blasted out. Boom. Like the 9-day thunder drum, the space was shaking, and the power of the Lord of the Abyss's nearly 2 million-year soul ring was endless, and countless dead spirits and ghosts were all blasted into nothingness. Yang Xiaoshan's fist force surged, as if it would never stop. No matter how powerful the dead spirits or ghost kings were, they were all crushed to dust by the power of the Lord of the Abyss. Yang Xiaoshan's fist force continued to hit the wall of the Imperial capital, and then it stopped. Yang Xiaoshan broke through the air again, and punched out again. The fist force hit the wall of the Imperial capital again. Others' punches hit the flesh, but Yang Xiaoshan's punches hit the wall of the Imperial capital. The Black Dragon martial spirit was dark and boundless, but Yang Xiaoshan's whole body was burning with golden light. The power of the Lord of the Abyss continued to shock everyone. On the wall of the Imperial capital, many female disciples of the family were moved and couldn't help themselves. Yang Shen, you are so strong. A female disciple couldn't help but scream in excitement. It was the lady of the Yan family. It was also Yan Long's eldest sister. Yang Shen, thank you for protecting us. A lady of the Shen family also shouted excitedly. Many young ladies of the family shouted excitedly. Thank you, Lord Yang. Some young ladies even shouted directly, Lord Yang, I like you so much. Lord Yang, I miss you every day. I miss you so much that I go crazy. Seeing these dignified young ladies from super families screaming, many strong men were stunned. To everyone's surprise, the old ancestors of the Yan family and the Shen family were all smiling and did not stop them. Seeing Wan Shui rolling his eyes, he certainly understood what these old guys were thinking. They were planning to snatch his great-grandson-in-law from him. Damn, they want to snatch my great-grandson-in-law. No way. Yang Xiaoshan's forehead was black, pretending not to hear what those young ladies said. The power of the Lord of the Abyss continued to urge, bombarding in all directions, and the earth was shaking. Previously, he urged the power of the Hunio and Destiny and the Eternal Divine Body, and bombarded for a long time, but the undead and ghosts never decreased. But now under the power of the Lord of the Abyss, the undead and ghosts around him finally became less. It must be said that the power of the Lord of the Abyss is powerful and invincible. However, the sound of the ghost was very annoying, and it kept blowing towards him. He turned his head suddenly, and looked at the mountain where Yanping, the son of the Hades, was. This sight made Yanping tremble with fear. Sure enough, Yang Xiaoshan came to kill him. Yang Xiaoshan punched, and took a step, and each step took him several miles, constantly approaching the mountain, where Yanping was. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan killing him step by step, Yanping, the corpse demons and others were all panicked. Sir, let's leave first. The evil Buddha couldn't help, but said to Yanping, the injuries they suffered from being hit by Lord Ding last time have not healed yet. If they are hit by Lord Ding again this time, I'm afraid they won't even be able to get out of bed. Yang Ping's face was cloudy, and he was angry, ashamed, murderous, and unwilling. However, no matter how unwilling he was, he knew that with Yang Xiaoshan around, there was no hope of conquering the capital of the 10,000 gods. Retreat. Yang Ping's voice was extremely gloomy. After he finished speaking, he turned into a ray of light, disappeared in the boundless ghost energy, and disappeared on the spot. The corpse demon, the blood demon, and the evil Buddha also breathed a sigh of relief, hiding their breath and escaping. After Yan Ping and the others left, the voice of the ghost also disappeared. Billions of dead souls and ghosts retreated like a tide. As soon as the Kang Shenfu army arrived, they saw the retreating dead souls and ghosts. Although they didn't know the reason, they still fought hard to kill them. Seeing the dead souls and ghosts retreating, the people in the once Hen Imperial City also took advantage of the victory to pursue them. Countless dead souls and ghosts were left on the ground. In the end, the dead souls and ghosts disappeared into the sky. Brother. When Yang Xiaoshan was breathing a sigh of relief, he smelled a fragrance and saw the little girl Yang Linga running over with a happy face. She looked at Yang Xiaoshan with admiration. Brother, you are so awesome. Yang Xiaoshan smiled. I'm glad you are all okay. At this time, Wang Guanfeng, Wan Shui, and Yao Shenfeng Yiming also came over. Yang Xiaoshan stepped forward and clasped his fists, saying, "Greetings to the great emperor and the two seniors." Wang Guanfeng, the great emperor of the gods, shook his hands hastily and said, "If you don't mind, you can call me uncle from now on." Uncle? Upon hearing this, Yang Linga smiled and winked at her brother. Yang Xiaoshan glared at the little girl, who was so smart. So, with the welcome of everyone, Yang Xiaoshan and the army of Kang Shenfu entered the capital of the gods. Although Wang Guanfeng and Wan Shui invited him warmly, Yang Xiaoshan still returned to the mansion of the gods. The capital of the gods had just been attacked by the army of dead spirits and ghosts, and he wanted to be with his family. Yang Xiaoshan introduced the Dark Dragon to Tonks Demon Ape, Shine King Thunder Python and others. When Tonks Demon Ape and others learned that the old man wearing a mask in front of them was actually the invincible Dark Dragon from more than 100,000 years ago, they were all surprised and hurried forward to salute. In the following days, Yang Xiaoshan stayed with his family in the mansion of the gods. Occasionally, Princess Wanning and Zenkai Qian would come to the gods' mansion to visit the Yang family. After the two girls came more often, they became familiar with Yang Linga. Every time, Yang Linga would pull the two girls to chat non-stop. In addition to Princess Wanning and Zenkai Qian, the head of the Yan family and the head of the Shen family also brought their daughters to visit Yang Xiaoshan, and they came to visit every day. In the end, Yang Xiaoshan simply said that he was in seclusion to practice. Yang Xiaoshan was indeed busy refining the Heavenly Fate Divine Stone. The 37 Heavenly Fate Divine Stones awarded in this God Mansion competition were enough for him to consolidate the world of the Sea of Gods. The news that Yang Xiaoshan had cultivated the Hunyuan Heavenly Fate and possessed the Supreme King Martial Soul and the Abyss Lord Soul Ring also spread throughout the Kangshen continent, shocking the world. Countless sects and countless family disciples in the Kangshen continent worshipped Yang Xiaoshan extremely, and many disciples even traveled thousands of miles to the capital of the 10,000 gods just to meet Yang Xiaoshan. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Yang Xiaoshan finally completely refined the 37 destiny stones, and his Sea of Divine World was consolidated to an astonishing degree. Finally, I can carry the second Hunyuan destiny. However, it would be too noisy to trigger the Hunyuan Fate Tribulation in the Imperial capital, so that night, Yang Xiaoshan secretly left the Imperial capital and came to the wild mountains far away from the Imperial capital. Chapter 487, Carrying the Hunyuan Destiny Again. Seeing that they were far enough away from the Imperial capital, Yang Xiaoshan activated the power of the Sea of Gods and blasted into the heavens, and then he advanced all the way and blasted into the 9th level of the heavens. Boom. Yang Xiaoshan's Sea of Gods once again blasted the boundary wall at the end of the 9th level of space. With the experience of the last time, he was familiar with the route this time, and he kept urging the power of the Sea of Gods to blast the boundary wall. Boom, boom, boom. A series of dense booms continued to ring out. Yang's Eye Ocean was like raising a huge hammer and constantly hitting the Hunyuan boundary wall, and the boundary wall was shaking. Compared with the last time, Yang's Eye Ocean's Sea of Gods had much stronger power, so it was much easier to blast open the Hunyuan boundary wall this time. Last time, he blasted the Hunyuan boundary wall for 4,000 times before cracks appeared, but this time, he only blasted it for 2,000 times before cracks appeared in the Hunyuan boundary wall. Looking at the cracks that appeared, Yang's Eye Ocean was happy and increased his power to blast. Finally, with a bang, the Hunyuan boundary wall was completely blasted open. Yang's Eye Ocean Sea of Power was like water breaking through a dam, constantly pouring into the Hunyuan space. At the moment when Yang's Eye Ocean Sea of Power poured into the Hunyuan space, thunder and lightning flashed, countless thunder clouds gathered frantically, and the amazing power of thunder tribulation spread. Feeling the power of thunder tribulation, Yang's Eye Ocean's face changed slightly. This time, the Hunyuan fate tribulation was obviously much stronger than the first time. As your strength increases in the future, the power of the Hunyuan fate tribulation will become stronger and stronger. Ding Yi's voice sounded inopportunely. He could just wait to be bombed. Ding Yi, the old man, was obviously gloating. Yang's Eye Ocean rolled his eyes at the old man. He looked solemnly at the thunder clouds that were still gathering in the sky. Originally, he thought that this time's Hunyuan fate tribulation would be the same as the last time, and it would be easy to get through, but he didn't expect it to become stronger. It looks like another hard battle later. Thinking of the last time he was bombarded by the Hunyuan fate tribulation, and lay on the ground unable to move, Yang's Eye Ocean took a deep breath, and circulated his true energy throughout his body. The thunder clouds continued to surge. The world was completely plunged into darkness. It was even darker than the last time. Boom. Suddenly, without any warning, in the violent thunder clouds, countless thunder powers gathered and blasted down. When the thunder power blasted down, the world was instantly bright. The heart-pounding power instantly blasted over Yang's Eye Ocean's head. Fast. It was too fast. Even though Yang's Eye Ocean had been prepared, he reacted too late and the thunder had already reached his head. Yang's Eye Ocean didn't think much and reacted with both fists instantly. Boom. Yang's Eye Ocean felt his whole body shake violently and was blasted into the ground. There was a buzzing sound. The thunder power exploded and everything around was blown away. It was like a super nuclear bomb falling, and the terrifying sand waves rolled up thousands of layers, covering the sky and the sun, as if destroying the world. Yang's Eye Ocean shook off the sand and dust on his body, and just as he stood up, he saw the second thunder blasting down again. This time, he directly summoned Hunyuan Xianming, frantically urged the power of Hunyuan Xianming, and blasted with both fists. Bang! Even with the power of Hunyuan destiny, Yang's Eye Ocean was still blasted into the ground. Damn. Seeing himself being blasted into the ground again, Yang's Eye Ocean was annoyed and flew up into the air. He put on the hands of Kangshan on both hands. Under the urging of his eternal divine body and the power of the Sea of Gods, the hands of Kangshan burst out with layers of divine light. Buzz. With a sound, the third level of thunder fell, and the space was squeezed, buzzing, and the airwaves flew. After Yang's Eye Ocean survived the third level of thunder, the fourth level, the fifth level, the sixth level of thunder, one after another, the level of fate thunder fell. Yang's Eye Ocean fought with all his strength, and in the end, he even summoned 2 million-year soul rings. When the 10th level of thunder finally exploded, Yang's Eye Ocean lay on the ground, his skin torn and blood dripping. At this moment, he really didn't want to move. Of course, he couldn't move. Originally, he thought that he had broken through to the middle stage of the second level of the Emperor Realm this time, and had another Hunyuan destiny. His strength had greatly increased, and he could easily survive the Hunyuan fate tribulation. So he did not build the divine armor, but he did not expect that he was still careless. Damn it. Fortunately, there were only 10 levels. If there was another level of thunder, he would have died. After the 10th level of thunder was exploded, the Hunyuan power poured into Yang's Eye Ocean's body and continued to gather in his sea of divine world. After a moment, the second Hunyuan destiny was finally generated. With the generation of the second Hunyuan destiny, the power of the two Hunyuan destinies pressed Yang's Eye Ocean's sea of divine world to shake. However, Yang Zai Ocean's Sea of Divine Essence was thick enough, and the Sea of Divine World was compacted to be extremely solid. His Sea of Divine World was already fully able to bear the power of the two Hunyuan destinies. No matter how the two Hunyuan destinies made a fuss, it was fine. The two Hunyuan destinies swam freely over Yang Zai Ocean's Sea of Divine World. After a while, Yang Zai Ocean was able to move, and swallowed the next mouthful of the sixth heavenly tribulation thunder water. He practiced the starting dragon technique, and his injuries gradually recovered. Yang Zai Ocean stood up, loosened his muscles, and wanted to summon the two Hunyuan destiny to test their power, but he finally resisted the urge. The last time, the power of one Hunyuan destiny had destroyed everything around it. If it was the power of two Hunyuan destiny, the destruction would be even more terrifying, and it might even affect human cities. Yang Zai Ocean packed up his whole body, put on the clothes sewn by his mother, and flew back to the imperial capital. Although his Sea of Gods and the world are now extremely solid, his Sea of Gods is far from enough to carry the third Hunyuan destiny, so he has to wait until he breaks through the third level of the Emperor realm before carrying the third Hunyuan destiny. When Yang Zai Ocean returned to the residence of the gods, it was already bright. "Brother, where have you been? I've been looking for you for a long time." Yang Linga walked over from a distance. "What's wrong?" Yang Zai Ocean asked. "Didn't you say that you would take me to the Soul Beast Forest to hunt soul beasts after I break through to the Martial Emperor realm?" Yang Linga smiled happily. "I broke through to the Martial Emperor realm last night." At this point, her Martial Emperor aura was released. Yang Zai Ocean was surprised. He didn't expect the girl to break through the Emperor realm so quickly. He smiled and said, "Okay, then you get ready. We will go to the Soul Beast Forest tomorrow." "Brother, I want to go in a moment." Yang Linga shook Yang Zai Ocean's arm. Obviously, she couldn't wait to have her own soul ring. Yang Zai Ocean was shaken back and forth, and smiled helplessly. "Then we have to wait until breakfast is finished before going." "Okay." Yang Linga smiled sweetly, then leaned in and said, "Brother, how about we take Kai and Kian and Sister Ninga with us?" Yang Zai Ocean's forehead was black. If he took Zenkai and Kian and Wanning with him, the three women would be together, and he couldn't even concentrate on his cultivation. "Let's not do it. The journey is long, and Senior Sister Kai and Kian and Senior Sister Wanning also need to practice." Yang Zai Ocean said. "Okay." Yang Linga didn't insist. This made Yang Zai Ocean feel relieved. After a while, after they had breakfast made by their mother Huang, they left the imperial capital and headed for the Soul Beast Forest. Finally a million words. Cheers. Chapter 488 Brother Zai Ocean. This time, Yang Zai Ocean brought few people to the Soul Beast Forest, only Tonks in Demon Ape and Dark Dragon. However, when passing through Kang Shenfu, Yang Zai Ocean went back to Kang Shenfu. Zheng Yangjiang said last time that, as long as he won the top 10 in the Shenfu competition, he would reward him with an extra god level elixir. Zheng Yangjiang hadn't given him that god level elixir yet, so he went back to Kang Shenfu to ask Zheng Yangjiang for that god level elixir. Zheng Yangjiang saw Yang Zai Ocean coming back and gave him the god level elixir without saying a word. Yang Zai Ocean didn't stay for long. He took the god level elixir and asked his sister, Dark Dragon and others, to continue on their way. After all, the distance to the Soul Beast Forest this time was not close, so they had to hurry up. However, when passing the borders of some coastal empires, they saw that the borders of each empire were strictly guarded, as if they were facing a great enemy. Seeing this, Tonks and Demon Ape said, "Recently, the coastal areas of Kangshan continent are not very peaceful. Overseas countries often come to invade and plunder resources." Overseas countries? Yang Zai Ocean frowned. Recently, he has been practicing in seclusion, and has not paid attention to these. Tonks and Demon Ape nodded. In the past few years, the undead death god in the underworld gate have been making trouble. Overseas countries have seen an opportunity and frequently come to the coastal areas of our Kangshan continent to plunder resources. When mentioning overseas countries, and Long's eyes were cold and disgusted. Overseas countries are ambitious, and they are restless at ordinary times. They often come to our Kangshan continent to plunder resources. Tonks and Demon Ape shook his head and said, although overseas countries are annoying, they are not weak. Even the Kangshan mansion can't do anything about it. Even the Lord of Kangshan couldn't solve the overseas hidden dangers. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. He knew a little about overseas countries. Outside Kangshan continent is the Boundless Sea. In the Boundless Sea, there are 100,000 great countries. These countries have always been eyeing the Kangshan continent, often sending troops to invade the coastal countries of the Kangshan continent. Sometimes, they even attack some coastal cities and plunder the supplies in the coastal cities. What's more annoying is that after these people plundered the supplies in the city, they would directly abduct some beautiful women when they saw them. In the end, the fate of these beautiful women can be imagined, and they are usually humiliated to death. Not only that, if the caravans of the Kangshan continent go out to sea, if the overseas countries know about it, they will send troops to rob and kill these caravans. Therefore, the Kangshan continent and the overseas countries have been resentful for a long time. Overseas countries. Yang Xiaoshan read. When he goes to the Wanjian continent, he will have to cross the Boundless Sea and must pass through the overseas countries. Driven by the top-grade spirit stone, the Abyss spaceship keeps approaching the Soul Beast forest. Yang Xiaoshan swallowed Zheng Yangjiang's god-level pill directly to the Tree of Life, and 2 days later, 2 life god fruits grew. So, when he was on the road, Yang Xiaoshan swallowed the life god fruit to practice. On the way, the demon ape and the dark dragon instructed Yang Linga to practice. With the guidance of 2 masters, Yang Linga's practice progressed rapidly, whether it was swordsmanship or other magical powers. After Yang Xiaoshan refined 2 life divine fruits, the few people finally arrived at the Soul Beast forest. However, after breaking through to the middle stage of the 2nd level of the Emperor realm, it was more difficult to improve. After refining 2 life divine fruits, Yang Xiaoshan broke through to the peak of the late 2nd level of the Emperor realm. He was still half a step away from the 3rd level of the Emperor realm. Young master, the Soul Beast forest is ahead. The demon ape said outside the secret room. Yang Xiaoshan came out of the secret room and looked at the Soul Beast forest in front of him. He couldn't help but think of the scene of hunting the Lord of the Abyss a few years ago. The scene at that time was vivid, and it had been a few years in the blink of an eye. He put away the Abyss spaceship and flew in the air with a few people. The Soul Beast forest was almost the same as it was back then. On the way, disciples entering the Soul Beast forest to hunt soul beasts could be seen everywhere. These disciples were from the Buddhist Empire, the Dragon Empire, and even the 10,000 Gods Empire. Since Yang Xiaoshan had to choose a soul beast of more than 100,000 years for his sister this time, Yang Xiaoshan and his companions flew deep into the Soul Beast forest. Night gradually fell. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the sky and said, "Let's find a place to rest for a night and continue our journey tomorrow." So, they found a mountain and lit a bonfire. The demon ape went to hunt a small soul beast and roasted it on the bonfire. The aroma was fragrant. Yang Xiaoshan cut a leg of the beast for his sister Yang Linga. Just as they were feasting, they saw a group of disciples coming from a distance. Originally, Yang Xiaoshan didn't care, but when he saw one of the female disciples, he couldn't help but stop and stared at the female disciple. Yang Linga saw that her brother was different and couldn't help but look over. She was surprised and shouted, "It's Sister Kingsun! Sister Kingsun!" Then she waved her hands vigorously, very happy. The female disciple heard the call and looked over here. When she saw Yang Linga, she was also surprised and said, "Sister Linga." Then she hurried over here. The person who came was Long Kingsun, who had taken the 100 Flower Sword Goddess as her master and joined the 100 Flower sect. Yang Xiaoshan saw Long Kingsun coming over and stood up with his sister. He kept staring at Long Kingsun. After not seeing her for a few years, Long Kingsun, who was still a little girl back then, has grown into a graceful and elegant lady. She is taller than his sister Yang Linga, about 1.7 meters tall. She has beautiful eyes and skin as white as cream. She is extremely beautiful. In terms of beauty, Long Kingsun is not inferior to Zenkai Qian and Princess Wanning. After Long Kingsun came over, she hugged Yang Linga excitedly. She really didn't expect to meet Yang Linga here. "Sister Linga, are you okay?" Long Kingsun asked happily. Yang Linga nodded, then smiled and said, "I'm fine. I just miss Sister Kingsun a lot. My brother misses sister too." Then she gestured to Yang Xiaoshan to Long Kingsun. "My brother, you haven't seen each other for a few years, right?" I wonder if sister still recognizes my brother? Long Kingsuen looked over and locked eyes with Yang Xiaoshan. Suddenly, Long Kingsuen's heart was pounding. She looked at Yang Xiaoshan and said shyly, "Brother Xiaoshan." Back then, when she first met Yang Xiaoshan in the Red Moon Forest, she also called Yang Xiaoshan Brother Xiaoshan. After a few years, hearing this familiar Brother Xiaoshan, Yang Xiaoshan felt warm in his heart and smiled. Sister Kingsuen. The Beihua Divine Sect disciples who came with Long Kingsuen were a little surprised to see Long Kingsuen like this. In everyone's impression, junior sister Long was always serious, but today she was shy in front of a young man. Deng Chuan, a male disciple of the Hundred Flower Sect, was even more jealous when he saw this and asked, "Junior sister Long, who are these two people?" Long Kingsuen was a disciple of the Hundred Flowers female sword god and a princess of the Dragon Empire. She had both status and talent, so the Hundred Flower Sect naturally had no shortage of suitors, and Deng Chuan was one of them. Long Kingsuen looked at Yang Xiaoshan with her beautiful eyes. "Brother Xiaoshan and sister Linga are my friends. We have known each other since we were young." Friends since we were young? Does that mean childhood sweethearts? Chapter 489. We are from the True Dragon Sect. Deng Chuan was even more jealous when he heard that Long Kingsuen and the boy in front of him had known each other since childhood. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan and said, "Boy, which sect are you from?" Yang Xiaoshan saw that the other party was questioning him, so he looked at him and said, "It seems unnecessary to tell you which sect I'm from." Deng Chuan's face sank. The atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. At this time, Yang Linga said to Long Kingsuen, "Sister Kingsuen, what are you doing in the Soul Beast Forest? Are you also going to absorb soul rings?" Long Kingsuen nodded and smiled. "Yes, I'm also here to hunt soul beasts and absorb soul rings." Yang Xiaoshan looked at the brothers and sisters around Long Kingsuen and frowned. Generally speaking, if a sect disciple like Long Kingsuen hunts soul beasts and absorbs soul rings, it is usually accompanied by the sect leaders to hunt soul beasts. Why are there only some weak disciples here? Even if these weak disciples join forces, they can't hunt a 10,000-year-old soul beast. Not to mention dealing with a 20,000-year-old soul beast. Long Kingsuen is a supreme martial soul and can completely carry a 90,000-year soul ring. That's great. I'm here to hunt soul beasts and absorb soul rings, too. Yang Linga said with a happy smile. Then we'll hunt soul beasts together. Long Kingsuen nodded and smiled. "Okay. Didn't your master come with you?" Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help asking Long Kingsuen. Before Long Kingsuen could speak, Deng Chuan said, "The master is very busy. Why does he need to do such a small thing himself? If every disciple of our Beihua Divine Sect needs the master to do it himself to absorb soul rings, then our master doesn't need to practice. He can just accompany the disciples of the sect to hunt soul beasts." Long Kingsuen also explained to Yang Xiaoshan, "Junior brother Deng is right. My master is busy. We can just hunt soul beasts." Listening to Long Kingsuen's explanation, Yang Xiaoshan's face darkened. Long Kingsuen was obviously not speaking from the heart. Even if the Hundred Flower Sword Goddess was really busy, she could have asked some of the ancestors of the Hundred Flower Sect to accompany Long Kingsuen. Long Kingsuen was not only the disciple of the Hundred Flower Sect master, but also the supreme martial spirit. However, it was a bit unreasonable to ask Long Kingsuen and a dozen of his senior brothers and sisters to hunt soul beasts. It was not only unreasonable, but a bit too much. Yang Linga pulled Long Kingsuen to sit down and said to her with a smile, "Sister Kingsuen, sit down. This is the barbecue that my brother grilled. It's delicious." Long Kingsuen looked at the golden barbecue on the campfire and smiled knowingly. She remembered that when she first met Yang Xiaoshan in the Red Moon Forest, she was very hungry, and then Yang Xiaoshan gave her barbecue. After several years, she still remembered that barbecue. Yang Linga tore a big beast leg for Long Kingsuen. Long Kingsuen started to chew it, and it still tasted the same as before. Deng Chuan looked at the fragrant roasted meat in front of him, and without asking Yang Xiaoshan, he stretched out his hand to tear off another big beast leg. However, when he was about to reach out, Yang Xiaoshan blocked him with the branch in his hand. "You have hands and feet. If you want to eat, grill it yourself," Yang Xiaoshan said. Deng Chuan could not help but get angry. "Boy, don't think that I dare not touch you, just because you are a friend of junior sister Long." The eyes of the dark dragon and the demon ape suddenly turned cold. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at Deng Chuan, his face calm. I advise you not to do it, otherwise, you will be beaten badly. Deng Chuan glared, and several other male disciples of the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect also looked at Yang Xiaoshan with hostility. You. Deng Chuan was angry. Junior brother Deng, don't make trouble. At this time, a female disciple of the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect said, what she said is also true. We have hands and feet. If we want to eat, do it yourself. Deng Chuan seemed to be very afraid of this female disciple of the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect, and he didn't dare to say anything more after hearing this. So, more than a dozen people from the Hundred Flowers Sect lit a bonfire nearby, killed a soul beast, and roasted it. However, no matter how they roasted it, it was not as fragrant as Yang Xiaoshan's. Yang Xiaoshan ignored the people from the Hundred Flowers Sect, and asked Long Qingsun, where are your uncles? Why didn't they come with you? Normally, if Long Jiai and Long Lan knew about the extremely important matter of Long Qingsun hunting soul beasts and absorbing soul rings, they would definitely come with Long Qingsun. Long Qingsun shook his head. Recently, the undead spirits and ghosts have been causing chaos in the Dragon Empire. My father and others need to stay in the imperial capital. I don't want them to be distracted by my affairs. Therefore, Long Qingsun did not tell Long Jiai and Long Lan. Yang Linga smiled and said, that's fine. We have my brother, Senior Long, and Senior Yuan. Then she introduced Demon Yuan and Dark Dragon to Long Qingsun. This is Senior Long, and this is Senior Yuan. Sister Qingsun wants to fuse so many 10,000-year soul beasts, and let brother and Senior Long help you hunt them. Long Qingsun said respectfully to Dark Dragon and Demon Yuan, meet Senior Long and Senior Yuan. Dark Dragon and Demon Yuan quickly stood up and waved their hands to say no need to be polite. Both of them could see that Long Qingsun had a special relationship with their young master. Deng Chuan, who was standing aside, sneered, you want to fuse so many 10,000-year soul beasts and let brother and Senior Long hunt them? It's as if they can even hunt 90,000-year and 100,000-year soul beasts. Demon Yuan's face darkened. If you say one more word, I'll beat your mouth to pieces. Deng Chuan stood up angrily. However, the female disciple stopped Deng Chuan earlier. After the female disciple stopped Deng Chuan, she couldn't help but look at Dark Dragon and Demon Yuan a few more times. Although she was only an emperor, she could feel that the two were very powerful. Long Qingsun introduced them to Yang Xiaoshan. It turned out that the female disciple was the chief disciple of the Beihua Divine Sect, named Du Mei. No wonder Deng Chuan was so afraid of her. Du Mei clasped her fists to Yang Xiaoshan and said, brother, you have known each other since childhood. I wonder which sect in the Shenlong Empire you are from? Yang Xiaoshan clasped his fists and said, my sister and I are both from the True Dragon Divine Sect. Although he is now a disciple of the Kangshen Mansion, he is indeed from the True Dragon Divine Sect. Deng Chuan sneered when he heard that Yang Xiaoshan was from the True Dragon Divine Sect. Although the True Dragon Divine Sect is the first super sect in the Shenlong Empire, it is nothing to a giant like the Beihua Divine Sect in the Kangshen continent. So brother, you are a disciple of the True Dragon Divine Sect. Du Mei nodded and smiled, and didn't take it to heart. Yang Linga dragged Long Qingsun to chat until very late. After midnight, Yang Xiaoshan meditated on the side. Nothing happened that night. The next day, everyone continued on their journey, flying deep into the Soul Beast forest. Du Mei was surprised to see Yang Xiaoshan could fly. Yang Xiaoshan could fly, which meant he was at least at the martial emperor level. Yang Xiaoshan and Long Qingsun should be the same age. To be able to cultivate to the martial emperor level at the age of 15, in her opinion, even in the Hundred Flower Sect, his talent was top notch. And Yang Xiaoshan's sister, who was even younger, had also cultivated to the martial emperor level. These two siblings were so talented. Just as everyone was flying forward, suddenly, there was a tiger roar, and a huge black tiger flew out from a distance. The powerful aura made the faces of the disciples of the Hundred Flower Sect change. This black tiger soul beast had such a strong aura, it must be a soul beast over 20,000 years old. Chapter 490 Tell your sect master. Du Mei felt the powerful aura of the black tiger soul beast. Her face changed and she shouted, everyone, retreat quickly. The disciples of the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect fled in panic. However, just as they fled, they saw the demon ape clenching the air, and saw that the black tiger soul beast, which was at least 20,000 years old, was instantly crushed by an invisible giant hand. Bang! There was a loud bang, and blood spurted out, dyeing the surrounding trees and the ground red. The disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect who had originally escaped were shocked. Even Dumedi looked at the demon ape in surprise. This middle-aged man with an extremely tall figure was so powerful that he crushed a 20,000-year-old soul beast like a mosquito. Deng Chuan looked at the demon ape again, and there was obviously a trace of fear in his eyes. Last night, the demon ape said that he would beat his mouth to pieces, and he was furious. At that time, he even wanted to rush up and beat the demon ape's mouth to pieces. Now, even if he was given the courage, he would not dare to have this idea. Yang Xiaoshan looked calm and continued to fly forward with Yang Linga and Long Qingsun. On the way, if they encountered weaker soul beasts, Yang Xiaoshan would let Yang Linga and Long Qingsun take action. After a few days, the two's actual combat strength improved a lot. At this time, everyone had arrived in the depths of the soul beast forest. Here, almost all soul beasts were over 10,000 years old, and even 40,000 and 50,000 year soul beasts appeared. All the disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect were terrified. Considering the safety of the disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect, Dumedi did not continue to fly forward with Yang Xiaoshan and others, but camped outside and waited for Yang Xiaoshan and others. After agreeing on a time with Dumedi and others, Yang Xiaoshan took Yang Linga and Long Qingsun to continue flying deeper. Here, these soul beasts over 10,000 years old were no longer something that Yang Linga and Long Qingsun could deal with. The demon apes were directly blown up. As for the dark dragon, he was too lazy to take action. These 4 or 5,000 year soul beasts did not interest him. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan and his companions came to the deepest part of the soul beast forest. Here, there are already 90,000-year-old and 100,000-year-old soul beasts living in the area, and there are even 200,000-year-old and 300,000-year-old soul beasts. If you cross this area, it will be the hell abyss of the Lord of the Abyss. After weighing the pros and cons, Yang Xiaoshan decided to hunt 100,000-year-old soul beasts for his sister and Long Qingsun. After all, soul rings are extremely important. Although it would be dangerous to absorb a 100,000-year soul ring with their foundation, it shouldn't be a problem with him, Dark Dragon, and the Demon Ape. Of course, Yang Xiaoshan also asked his sister and Qingsun what they meant, and both of them wanted to condense the 100,000-year soul ring. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his companions arrived at the deepest area, a phoenix cried, and a huge ice flame phoenix swooped over from a distance. This ice flame phoenix is exactly the 110,000-year-old soul beast. This is it. Yang Xiaoshan immediately locked onto this ice flame phoenix. My younger sister Yang Linga has the 9-colored phoenix martial soul. If she absorbs the soul of this 110,000-year-old ice flame phoenix soul beast, they will complement each other and can better exert the power of the martial soul. Suddenly, the demon ape broke through the air and swung the 10,000-foot-long black crystal iron chain in his hand towards the ice flame phoenix, fighting with the ice flame phoenix. The dark dragon did not make a move either. The demon ape could still deal with the 110,000-year-old ice flame phoenix. He stayed aside to prevent the ice flame phoenix from escaping. While Yang Xiaoshan and others were hunting the ice flame phoenix, the people of the 100 Flowers divine sect were talking about Yang Xiaoshan and others. Big sister, in your opinion, what is the strength of that middle-aged man and that old man? A female disciple of the 100 Flowers divine sect asked Dumedi. Dumedi shook her head. It's hard to say. Because the demon ape never used his full strength from beginning to end along the way. He just casually attacked and blasted the 10,000-year-old, 20,000-year-old or even 30,000-year-old soul beasts. As for the dark dragon, he never made a move. She felt that the dark dragon's strength was probably stronger than the demon ape. I just wonder how many tens of thousands of years they will hunt soul beasts for junior sister Long. Deng Chuan said. Should it be 50,000 years? I think it's more than that. Maybe 60,000 years, 70,000 years. Just as the disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect were discussing, a female disciple suddenly said, I think the sect master is a little unfair to junior sister Long. The disciples of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect fell silent. No one spoke. Dumei also sighed. She also felt that the master treated the little junior sister unfairly. Even if the little junior sister went against her will in that matter, she shouldn't treat the little junior sister like this. The little junior sister is a supreme martial soul. After absorbing the soul ring, her master should accompany her to hunt soul beasts. However, her master used the excuse that he had important things to deal with. In fact, there was no important thing. I heard that the ancestor got a set of ancient dragon clan exercises. The female disciple just now said again. Dumei interrupted and said, the ancestor's affairs are not something we can discuss casually. The disciples of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect were silent. After a hard fight, the demon ape finally succeeded in hunting down the Ice Flame Phoenix. Yang Linga sat cross-legged beside the Ice Flame Phoenix and began to absorb its beast soul. One day later, Yang Linga finally succeeded in condensing a purple-red soul ring around the 9-colored phoenix. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan breathed a sigh of relief. Then, several people began to look for the beast soul for Long Qingxun. After half a day, they finally found a 9-clawed golden dragon that was 110,000 years old. Long Qingxun has dragon veins and dragon martial spirits, so absorbing the 9-clawed golden dragon beast soul is the most suitable. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and just when the disciples of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect were getting a little impatient, they saw Yang Xiaoshan and others flying out. Dumei relaxed her whole body and greeted her. Junior sister Long, how is it? Long Qingxun nodded, smiling. It has succeeded. Dumei smiled and said, that's good. Since junior sister has successfully condensed the soul ring, let's go back to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect. At this point, she clasped her fists to Yang Xiaoshan, Dark Dragon and others and said goodbye. Just as Dumei was about to leave, Yang Xiaoshan suddenly said, Senior Sister Du, I have something to say to your sect leader. Dumei stopped, stunned, not knowing what Yang Xiaoshan wanted to say to their sect leader. Please tell your sect leader to treat Qingxun well. If Qingxun is wronged in your Beihua Divine Sect in the future, I will personally go to your Beihua Divine Sect to ask for an explanation. Yang Xiaoshan's voice was very calm, but it made Dumei shudder. Dumei heard that, if Long Qingxun was really wronged in Beihua Divine Sect in the future, Yang Xiaoshan would definitely not just ask for an explanation. Brother Xiaoshan, thank you. Long Qingxun was full of emotion and looked at Yang Xiaoshan affectionately. After a few years, Brother Xiaoshan was still the same Brother Xiaoshan who protected her back then. I'll go to Beihua Divine Sect to see you in a few days. Yang Xiaoshan smiled at Long Qingxun. When he finds the treasure of Huanquan Demon Sect, finds Huanquan Demon Art, and refines the Eternal Heaven Coffin, he will go to Beihua Divine Sect. As Yang Xiaoshan watched, Long Qingxun and the disciples of the 100 Flower Sect finally disappeared into the sky. Let the old demon check the 100 Flower Sect. Yang Xiaoshan said to the Tungsten Demon Ape in a cold voice, I want to know what happened to Qingxun in the 100 Flower Sect in the past few years. Yes, sir. Chapter 491 I want to see if he dares to come. The heart-to-heart Demon Ape immediately used a secret method to contact the Devil Ancestor Mishan, asking him to investigate the 100 Flowers Divine Sect and Long Qingxun's situation in the 100 Flowers Divine Sect in recent years. The heart-to-heart Demon Ape, who knew Yang Xiaoshan well, knew that their young master was going to be serious this time. He had never seen their young master pay so much attention to a woman. It seemed that Long Qingxun was the young master's Achilles heel. I hope that the 100 Flower Sword God can take his young master's words to heart. Otherwise, the 100 Flowers Divine Sect would be in a bloodbath. Yang Linga also felt her brother's anger, but she knew how important Long Qingxun was in her brother's heart. So, Yang Xiaoshan and his companions took a spaceship back to the 10,000 Gods Imperial capital. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his companions were on their way back to the 10,000 Gods Imperial capital, Long Qingxun, Dumei and the disciples of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect returned to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect. As soon as they returned, the 100 Flowers Sword God called Dumei and Engchuan to his side and asked them about the situation of this trip to the Soul Beast Forest. What soul ring did your junior sister condense? The 100 Flowers Sword God asked the two. Dumei hesitated for a moment, then lowered her head and said, "Master, when we entered the Soul Beast Forest, we met Junior Sister's friend. It was Junior Sister's friend who helped Junior Sister hunt the Soul Beast. We were not there at the time, so we don't know what soul ring Junior Sister has condensed." "Your Junior Sister's friend?" Behoa Goddess Sword was puzzled. It was a boy of 15 or 16 years old. He said he was from the True Dragon sect of the Divine Dragon Empire, and he had known Junior Sister since childhood. Dumei quickly answered, "True Dragon sect?" Behoa Sword God nodded, but didn't take it seriously. "Master, Junior Sister's friend is extremely arrogant." At this time, Deng Chuan said angrily, "I just said one more word, and his men said they would beat my mouth to pieces." Behoa Sword God frowned and asked Dumei, "Really?" Dumei did not dare to hide it. "It's true." When she was about to explain, Deng Chuan said, "When we left, the young man suddenly called Senior Sister and said that he wanted Senior Sister to tell Master." "Oh, a message for me?" Behoa Sword God couldn't help but look at Dumei. Dumei looked embarrassed. "Tell me his original words." Behoa Sword God's voice was not loud, but he would not allow disobedience. Dumei gritted her teeth and said, "He asked me to tell Master to treat Junior Sister well. If Junior Sister suffers any grievances in Behoa Divine Sect in the future, he will." At this point, she stopped. What will he do? Behoa Sword God's tone was a little cold. Although Dumei didn't finish, she had guessed that it was not a good thing. "He will personally come to our Behoa Divine Sect to ask for an explanation." Dumei could only tell the truth. "How dare you?" Behoa Sword God heard this and immediately flew into a rage. He smashed the table next to him with one palm. "A junior dared to warn me. Is he teaching me how to do things?" It's no wonder that Behoa Sword God was so angry. She was a dignified female sword god, respected by all the strong men in Kangshan continent, and a junior dared to warn him. He is simply courting death. The more Behoa Sword God thought about it, the angrier he became. Even the ancestors of the True Dragon Divine Sect and the ancestors of the Divine Dragon Imperial family had to kneel in front of her. A disciple of the True Dragon Divine Sect dared to warn her. "Master, that young man is probably not simple," Dumei said. "His two subordinates are very powerful." The 100 Flowers Sword God ignored Dumei's words, then called the elders of the sect and announced, "From now on, Long Kingsuen will no longer be able to enjoy all the resources of the sect. Cancel her monthly elixirs and spirit stones, and let all the ancestors who passed on the skills no longer guide her to practice. In addition, let her move out of the core disciples practice cave and live in the courtyard of the outer disciples. If she dares to leave the sect, all her skills and magical powers will be taken back." The cold voice of the 100 Flowers Sword God echoed in the hall. The sect elders were choked, but looking at the sullen face of the 100 Flowers Sword God, they did not dare to say anything more. They responded respectfully and took the order to go out. "Didn't that young man say that he would personally go to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect to ask for an explanation?" The 100 Flowers Sword God sneered. "I want to see if he dares to come to my 100 Flowers Divine Sect to ask for an explanation." In fact, she did this not because of that young man. She originally planned to cancel all of Long Kingsuen's resources after she came back. Dumei opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end she said nothing. Yang Xiaoshan returned to the god's residence. As soon as he returned to the god's residence, he asked the devil ancestor Mishan about the results of his investigation. The devil ancestor Mishan muttered, "Sir, we just found out that after Long Kingsuen returned to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect, the 100 Flowers Sword God cancelled all of her sect resources. She was no longer entitled to the monthly elixir and spirit stones, and was not allowed to teach her cultivation by all the ancestors who passed on the skills. In addition, she asked Long Kingsuen to move out of the core disciples cultivation cave and live in the outer disciples courtyard." Listening to the report from the devil ancestor Mishan, Yang Xiaoshan's face became colder and colder. It seemed that the 100 Flowers Sword God didn't take his words to heart at all. "Do you know why the 100 Flowers Sword God didn't accompany Kingsuen to the Soul Beast Forest to hunt soul beasts before?" Yang Xiaoshan asked again coldly. "It seems that the ancestor of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect recently obtained a set of ancient Dragon Clan skills. He wants to master it quickly and wants to have a double rest with Long Kingsuen, who has the blood of the Dragon Clan." The voice of the devil ancestor Mishan lowered. Long Kingson refused. When Yang Xiaoshan heard this, his eyes were full of murderous intent. He said to the heart-to-heart demon ape and the dark dragon, "Get ready, we are going to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect." "Yes, sir." The heart-to-heart demon ape and the dark dragon said respectfully. The two of them were immediately filled with murderous intent, and the violent killing intent was rampant. "Sir, the 100 Flowers Divine Sect is a super sect in the Futu Empire. Otherwise, bring more people with you," the devil ancestor Mishan said. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head. "No need. Although the 100 Flowers Divine Sect is one of the top 10 super sects in the Futu Empire, it is still far behind the Yunfeng sect and the Poison Dragon Palace. Brother, you have to be careful." Yang Linga couldn't help but worry. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. After a while, Yang Xiaoshan, the heart-to-heart demon ape, and the dark dragon broke through the air and disappeared into the sky. After leaving the imperial capital, Yang Xiaoshan drove the Abyss spaceship and approached the 100 Flowers Divine Sect at the fastest speed. After arriving at the Futu Empire, Yang Xiaoshan said to the heart-connecting demon ape, "Take my token and go to the Yunfeng sect and ask the Yunfeng sect to come to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect to help me. Then we will meet at the 100 Flowers Divine Sect." If he asked for something, the Yunfeng sect would definitely come. "Yes, young master." The heart-connecting demon ape flew quickly to the Yunfeng sect. Yang Xiaoshan and Dark Dragon continued to fly to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect. Just as Yang Xiaoshan flew to the 100 Flowers Divine Sect, the 100 Flowers Divine Sect was holding a competition for the core disciples of the sect. The 100 Flowers Sword God and a group of high-level officials of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect were sitting on the rostrum to watch. There was constant cheering. The 100 Flowers Divine Sect was very lively. Chapter 492 Wife and Mother. At this time, the two disciples of the 100 Flower Sect who were competing on the ring were the two most talented core disciples of the 100 Flower Sect. One was called Yao Lei, and the other was called Wang Jiayang. Yao Lei was also a direct descendant of the ancestor of the 100 Flower Sect. Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang were both shining with divine light, and both of them were top-notch divine bodies. One was the Tyrant Thunder God body, and the other was the Yangang God body. As for Yao Lei, his sword energy was running wild, and the power of the sword heart in his chest was bursting. He actually cultivated the 9 great sword hearts. As for Wang Jiayang, the sword in his hand was swung out, bringing up many sword waves. The strength of the sword energy and the heat wave were also amazing. He was practicing the ancient Yang God sword method. The ancient Yang God, like the ancient killing god, was a powerful man who shocked the ancient and modern times. Legend has it that the ancient Yang God was not a human race, but a fire spirit race, and possessed the so-called strongest fire god body, the different fire god body. The 100 Flowers Sword God sat on the rostrum, watching Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang fight, and smiled with satisfaction. Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang are very good. With their current strength and combat power, they will definitely succeed in the assessment of Kangshen Mansion. There are 2 ways to join Kangshen Mansion. One is to join Kangshen Academy first. After breaking through the Great Emperor realm, they can be recommended by Kangshen Academy to participate in the assessment of Kangshen Mansion. The other is not to join Kangshen Academy, but to be recommended by the major super sects in Kangshen continent to participate in the assessment of Kangshen Mansion. Another ancient ancestor smiled and said, "Next month, let Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang participate in the assessment of Kangshen Mansion. If they succeed, my 100 Flowers Divine Sect will once again be famous in Kangshen continent." It is indeed rare for a sect to have 2 disciples successfully join Kangshen Mansion at the same time. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan and An Lang finally arrived at the mountain gate of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect. The disciples of the 100 Flowers Divine Sect who were patrolling stopped Yang Xiaoshan and asked what they wanted. "I want to see your sect master." Yang Xiaoshan's face was indifferent. "See our sect master?" The inspecting disciple looked Yang Xiaoshan from head to toe and said with a smile, "Boy, have you grown all your hair yet? Do you want to see our sect master too?" The other inspecting disciples of the 100 Flower Sect all smiled. Yang Xiaoshan didn't bother to say anything more. He activated the power of 1296 acupoints at the same time. Suddenly, his whole body exploded with golden light, and he punched out suddenly. Boom. All the inspecting disciples were blown away, as if they were hit by a super violent hurricane. Yang Xiaoshen's fist force continued to hit the gate of the 100 Flowers sect. The gate of the 100 Flowers sect, which was tens of meters high, was blown away. Then, he punched the distant mountain. With a loud bang, the mountain was directly blown through. After blasting through dozens of mountains in a row, Yang Xiaoshen's fist force stopped. Hundreds of inspecting disciples of the 100 Flower sect who were blown away fell to the ground, with a look of horror on their faces. What kind of monster is this boy? He actually punched through dozens of mountains with one punch. The peaks of their Beihua divine sect are all blessed by the power of Saint Realm Masters. Even if the strongest core disciples of their Beihua divine sect want to blast through a peak, it is impossible. Yang Xiaoshen ignored the patrolling disciples and flew into the Beihua divine sect with Dark Dragon. At this time, Beihua Sword God and all the masters of Beihua divine sect heard a loud bang, and the ground shook. They were all surprised. What's going on? Beihua Sword God's pretty face sank. Sect master, a young man and an old man broke into our Beihua divine sect. Soon, an elder of Beihua divine sect came to report in a panic. A young man with an old man? Dumei's mind flashed, and she said in a stammer, could it be that the young man is here? Beihua Sword God reacted and sneered. I didn't expect that he would dare to come to my Beihua divine sect to ask for an explanation. At this point, she stood up suddenly. I want to see how he will ask for an explanation from my Beihua divine sect. Then she broke through the air and flew towards the mountain gate. Seeing this, the high-ranking officials and disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect followed the 100 Flowers Sword God. Dumei followed behind the 100 Flowers Sword God, but she felt uneasy. She didn't know why, but she always felt uneasy. After Yang Xiaoshen and An Lang entered the 100 Flowers divine sect, they encountered many masters and disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect who tried to stop them. However, they were all flicked away by An Lang's finger. Soon, Yang Xiaoshen saw the masters of the 100 Flowers divine sect flying out of the sect. There were quite a few people, probably tens of thousands of people. They flew towards him, and An Lang in a mighty force. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshen stopped. The 100 Flowers Sword God came to Yang Xiaoshen, looking at the masters who were bounced away by the Dark Dragon in the distance. Her pretty face was gloomy. She glanced at the Dark Dragon, and then her eyes fell on Yang Xiaoshen. You are very courageous. You actually dared to come to my 100 Flowers divine sect. But, you only brought one person to my 100 Flowers divine sect to ask for an explanation? Yang Xiaoshen's face was normal. I will destroy your 100 Flowers divine sect. One person is enough. What? You don't know how to live or die. Looking for death. As soon as Yang Xiaoshen said this, all the masters and disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect were furious. Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang punched Yang Xiaoshen angrily. The two people's divine bodies shone brightly, and their fists roared, like a hurricane beast rushing in. The two people instantly hit Yang Xiaoshen. Seeing that the two people's fists hit Yang Xiaoshen just raised his hand and held the two people's fists and then swung them directly, like swinging sandbags, and swung them out. The two of them were like meteor bombs, blasting into the distant lake. With a loud bang, the water in the distant lake was blown away, and the entire lake disappeared, and the two of them were stuck under the lake. The disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect were stunned. You are not in the Emperor realm. Dumei and Deng Chuan were especially shocked. After returning from the Soul Beast Forest, they had always thought that Yang Xiaoshen was just a martial emperor like Long Qingsun. But just now, Yang Xiaoshen actually threw Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang, who were in the first level of the martial emperor realm, away. They were thrown away like sandbags. Yao Lei and Wang Jiayang had no power to fight back. The two of them were like facing a Saint Realm strongman. But what happened? The boy in front of them was only 15 or 16 years old. How could he be in the Saint Realm? Even the 100 Flowers Sword God was shocked and didn't believe what he saw. Who are you? She stared at Yang Xiaoshen in surprise. Yang Xiaoshen didn't answer, staring at Dumei. Did you tell this old woman what I said? Dumei was stunned. Old woman. The 100 Flowers Sword Goddess was so angry that her face turned blue. This young man just called her wife! Exclamation mark. He actually called her wife. Boy, you are looking for death. The 100 Flowers Sword Goddess eyes were full of killing intent. "I don't care who you are, today, I will kill you with my sword." Having said this, she did not use her 100 Flowers divine sword, but swung her right hand out, and suddenly, an amazing sword energy blasted towards Yangtze Ocean. The sword energy rolled and surging, like the sound of thousands of divine thunders. The power of the female sword god was fully displayed. The 100 Flowers Sword Goddess is worthy of being one of the 2 female sword gods in the Kangshen continent. Her strength is far beyond that of ordinary sword gods. Seeing that her sword energy was about to blast through Yangtze Ocean's throat, suddenly, a hand came out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493. Let's kill him together. This is a very old hand. It is so old that it is just skin and bones. But it is this hand that blocked the amazing sword energy of the 100 Flowers Sword God. The amazing sword energy of the 100 Flowers Sword God, which contained the power of millions of divine thunders, hit the old hand. Not only did the hand not get pierced, but the black light shook, and the sword energy was directly shaken. Everyone was shocked and surprised, and looked at the dark dragon beside Yangtze Ocean. It was the dark dragon who made the move. The 100 Flowers Sword God was even more surprised. She knew the power of her sword just now. Even an ordinary sword god could not take her sword so easily. She stared at the dark dragon. "Who are you?" The dark dragon smiled and stared at the 100 Flowers Sword God with blood-red eyes, staring at the other party with hair in his heart. "Kill your people." The 100 Flowers Sword God was furious. "You are so shameless." The 100 Flowers divine sword appeared in her hand, and she suddenly stabbed it out with a sword, and countless sword flowers bloomed. It was the 100 Flowers Sword Dao. However, her 100 Flowers Sword art was more than 10,000 times stronger than the 100 Flowers Sword art that the son of Slaughter Mengbei had used before. The sky was filled with sword flowers, making people feel as if they were in a world of sword flowers. Moreover, the sword flowers were ever changing, making people confused. The sword flowers were as fast as lightning, and they were about to penetrate the whole body of the dark dragon. Suddenly, the darkness surged all over the dark dragon's body, and all the sword flowers blasted into the darkness around him, and they all disappeared, as if a stone sank into the sea, and was completely swallowed up by the sea. The 100 Flowers Sword God was shocked. What kind of skill is this? It actually swallowed up the 100 Flowers Sword key directly. In an instant, the dark dragon swallowed up all the opponent's sword energy. In the surprise of everyone, suddenly, the dark dragon's whole body burst into black light. I saw that the millions of sword energies that were just swallowed were actually shot at the 100 Flowers Sword God at a faster speed. The 100 Flowers Sword God was shocked, and the 100 Flowers divine sword in his hand spun wildly, forming a 100 Flowers Sword curtain. However, the 100 Flowers Sword curtain was instantly blasted apart. The 100 Flowers Sword God retreated in shock. At the same time, the 100 Flowers Sword in her hand burst out with amazing sword intent. She thrust out with the sword, and the sword energy exploded like thunder. This barely blocked the attack of the dark dragon. Even so, the 100 Flowers Sword God was still shocked, and her blood was surging. Her arm was in great pain, and she was in a mess. She looked at the dark dragon in shock and anger. The strength of this old man was beyond her imagination. As one of the 2 female sword gods in the Kangshen continent, she was stronger than the demon heaven sword god. But just after a single move, she fell into a disadvantage. 11 kinds of sword intent. Not bad. You can block one of my moves. Dark Dragon said coldly. Just now, the last sword of the 100 Flowers Sword God burst out with amazing sword intent, which contained 11 kinds of sword intent and barely blocked the attack of the dark dragon. Generally speaking, if you cultivate 9 sword hearts, you will have the qualifications to become a sword god. But to become a sword god, it is not only necessary to cultivate more than 9 sword hearts, but also to break through to the realm of the gods and comprehend more than 9 sword intentions. Ordinary sword gods can only comprehend 9 sword intentions. But the 100 Flowers Sword God has comprehended 11, 2 more than ordinary sword gods. There are very few sword gods who can comprehend 11 sword intentions. The entire Kangshen continent can be counted on one hand. Even so, the 100 Flowers sword god still fell into a disadvantage when facing the Dark Dragon. After the Dark Dragon finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he had already come in front of the 100 Flowers sword god. He stretched out his skinny hands. He didn't use much force, just gently pushed and patted. The space actually collapsed. An extremely powerful force penetrated through the layers of space and roared towards the opponent. The 100 Flowers sword god was pale, and the sword energy in his body surged out. Behind him appeared the shadows of 9 sword gods. She suddenly swung a sword. The 9 sword gods swung a sword at the same time. One sword out. The space in front was split in half. But it was useless. The extremely powerful force still blasted towards her through the layers of space. Bang! The 100 Flowers sword was blown away like a meteor and smashed into the distant mountains. The 100 Flowers sword god, who had comprehended 11 kinds of sword intent, was defeated in 2 moves. And Lang looked at the other party coldly. You have practiced the sword god Dao well, but unfortunately, you have only practiced to the 9th level. The sword god Dao is the supreme sword art created by the ancient Huangxiang sword god. Huangxiang sword god and An Lang are supreme masters of the same period. At that time, Huangxiang sword god practiced the sword god Dao to the 14th level and barely tied with An Lang. The 100 Flowers sword god spurted blood from his mouth, staining his chest red. Protect the master. The ancient ancestors and ancestors of the 100 Flowers divine sect woke up and roared. Open the 100 Flowers divine formation. Suddenly, the 100 Flowers divine sect's sword energy soared into the sky, and the sword energy was like a sea, covering the sky above the 100 Flowers divine sect. At the same time, endless sword energy bombarded Yangtze Ocean and Dark Dragon. Looking at the 100 Flowers sword energy bombarding, Dark Dragon snorted coldly, and the dark light on his body shook, shaking all the sword energy. Then, he suddenly punched out. Countless dark forces roared and flew out, bombarding the ancient ancestors and old ancestors of the 100 Flowers divine sect, and making them retreat endlessly. The disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect on the scene saw that dozens of ancient ancestors in the spirit realm of the 100 Flowers divine sect and thousands of old ancestors in the saint realm joined forces, and they were all bombarded back by the old man in front of them, and they were extremely shocked. Just when Dark Dragon was about to attack again, suddenly, a shout rang out from the forbidden area of 100 Flowers divine sect. Stop. I saw a figure flying through the air. The other party's body was like a proud dragon, and his fists bombarded, and the vast divine power turned into 2 huge dragons, bombarding Dark Dragon. Dark Dragon backhanded a punch, and blasted the opponent's divine dragon. The person who came was Yao Penghu, the ancestor of the 100 Flowers divine sect. He was also the one who forced Long Qingsun. Yang Xiaoshan stared at the other party, but said in a cold voice, Ancient Dragon Art, you really have surrendered to the immortal death god. What? Immortal death god? Everyone in the 100 Flowers divine sect looked at Yao Penghu in shock. Even the 100 Flowers sword god was shocked. Boy, you are slandering me. Yao Penghu stared at Yang Xiaoshan with murderous intent. Everyone, don't listen to him stirring up trouble here. Having said this, he suddenly punched Yang Xiaoshan. The divine dragon flew out again. The dark dragon punched out, and the dark dragon roared, instantly destroying the opponent's dragon. The dark dragon's fist power did not decrease, and it hit Yao Penghu, forcing Yao Penghu to retreat in embarrassment. The real dark dragon. You are Lord Dark Dragon. Yao Penghu stared at the dark dragon. His face changed drastically. Lord Dark Dragon? Everyone in the 100 Flowers divine sect was shocked. The 100 Flowers sword god was also shocked. This old man turned out to be the An Lang, the #1 master of their feudal empire more than 100,000 years ago. But wasn't it rumored recently that An Lang and the Lord of the Poison Dragon Palace and others had been killed by a mysterious person a few days ago? How could he still be alive? And he followed this young man. Who is this young man? Kill him. Yang Xiaoshan said coldly. Previously, the devil ancestor Mishan said that Yao Penghu had obtained the ancient dragon clan skills, so he had some guesses. Now it is confirmed that the other party has indeed surrendered to the immortal death god. In this case, Yao Penghu is even more dead. and Lang suddenly punched Yao Penghu again and killed him. Yao Penghu roared, "Kill that guy for me. Dark Dragon has already joined the immortal god of death, and that guy is the immortal god of death's man. Kill him quickly." A Saint Realm Elder under Yao Penghu's seat stabbed Yang Xiaoshen's throat with a sword and shouted, "The immortal god of death massacred the Kangshen continent. All those who have a relationship with the immortal god of death deserve to die. Let's kill him together." Just as the Saint Realm Elder was about to stab Yang Xiaoshen's throat, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshen's whole body was filled with light, the power of time surged, and a huge, golden Hunyuan destiny flew out. Chapter 494 Yang Xiaoshen, "You dare to kill me?" The heaven and earth shook. Everyone was shocked to see this huge, golden destiny. What kind of destiny is this? Many disciples were shocked and unbelievable. Just as everyone was shocked, suddenly, a huge, golden destiny flew out again. It was also 12,960 miles. The two destinies coiled in the sky, illuminating all corners of the 100 Flowers divine sect. Dumei looked at the two huge destinies in the sky, felt the terrifying power, and her pretty face changed drastically. She thought of a legend she had heard recently, and trembled. Hunyuan destiny. It's Hunyuan destiny. She looked at Yang Xiaoshen, and said in shock, "You are the 3000 Emperor Yang God." "What? 3000 Emperor Yang God? Young Master Yang God?" All the disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect looked at Yang Xiaoshen in shock. Even the Saint Realm Elder who attacked Yang Xiaoshen was shocked. "My god. This gentleman is the 3000 Emperor Yang God!" Exclamation mark. Now in the Kangshen continent, who doesn't know the 3000 Emperor Yang God? Who doesn't know the 3000 Emperor Yang God? You may not know the name of the Lord of Kangshen Mansion, but you must know the name of the young master of 3000 Emperors Yangshen. If you don't know, you will be ridiculed by others. This is the influence and prestige of 3000 Emperors Yangshen. Just when everyone was shocked, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshen's whole body was filled with dark light, and the Supreme King Dark Golden Flame Dragon flew out, and an aura like a deep abyss and a prison enveloped the world. The figure of the Lord of the Abyss, which was so huge that it was boundless, appeared in front of everyone. Under the aura of the Lord of the Abyss, all the masters of the Beihua divine sect fell to the ground. Yang Xiaoshen punched the Saint Realm Elder, the Lord of the Abyss, the two great mixed destiny, and the power of the eternal divine body roared out at the same time. Bang! The long sword of the Saint Realm Elder was shattered inch by inch. He was hit by a terrifying force, and was blasted back like a meteor, smashing countless mountains. Countless palaces collapsed. The Lord of the Abyss, the two primordial destinies, and the power of the eternal divine body bombarded the sky to the end. Wherever they passed, everything turned into dust, and everything turned into grains of time. One punch. A Saint Realm level 1 expert was blown away. He didn't know whether he was dead or alive. The boundless power made all the experts of the 100 Flowers divine sect gasp. Everyone looked at the dark golden flame dragon and the Abyss Lord Soul Ring in horror. Supreme King. Million-year Soul Ring. Primordial Destiny. Eternal Divine Body. Supreme King Martial Soul. Million-year Soul Ring. Everything is a myth. And all these myths come from the 15-year-old boy in front of them, the 3000 Emperor Yang God. Everyone was shocked. Even Yao Penghu, who was fighting with the Dark Dragon, could not hide the shock on his face. No matter how powerful a being is, seeing the million-year soul ring of the Lord of the Abyss, they will be afraid. There is no way. The power of the Lord of the Abyss has enveloped the Kangshen continent for more than 1 million years. Even the blue bear would retreat in the face of the Lord of the Abyss. Knowing that the young man in front of him was the 3000 Emperor Xiangshen, Yao Penghu had no intention of fighting anymore, and wanted to fly away. At this moment, suddenly, there was another loud bang that shook the sky. Then, a loud shout rang out, "We are here to help young Master Yangshen." Everyone looked over, and saw that the strongest ancestor of the Yunfeng sect, Dengfeng, had arrived with the Yunfeng sect army. This time, almost all the masters of the Yunfeng sect came out in full force. The army was so huge that there were probably tens of millions of them. The disciples of the 100 Flowers divine sect were so frightened that their faces turned pale and bloodless when they saw the Yunfeng sect army coming out in full force. Yao Penghu was even more frightened to flee when he saw that even Dengfeng had come. However, how could the dark dragon give him a chance to escape? The dark power in his body was like a giant umbrella, completely covering Yao Penghu. In the dark world, the dark dragon's strength increased again, and he punched out with both fists, constantly blasting Yao Penghu to retreat step by step. At this moment, suddenly, several figures from the 100-flower sect flew out of the air and attacked Yangtze Ocean. These figures were the 10th level ancestors of the Holy Realm under Yao Penghu. No matter how strong Yangtze Ocean was, with his strength of the 2nd level of the Emperor Realm, he could not be the opponent of the 10th level ancestors of the Holy Realm. Seeing that the 10th level ancestors of the Holy Realm were about to hit Yangtze Ocean, suddenly, there was a loud bang, and 2,000-foot iron chains turned into meteors, instantly blasting those ancestors. The one who attacked was the Tongxin Demon Ape. The Yinfeng sect and the Tongxin Demon Ape had already blasted open the formation of the 100-flower sect and rushed in like a tide. Young master, are you okay? The Tongxin Demon Ape came in front of Yangtze Ocean. It's okay. Yangtze Ocean shook his head. Greetings, sir. Dengfeng and the ancient ancestors of Yinfeng sect came to Yangtze Ocean and bowed quickly. We are late. Please forgive me, sir. No need to be polite. Yangtze Ocean shook his hand and said, you came at the right time. Control all the disciples of Beihua Divine Sect who are related to Yao Penghu. If anyone dares to resist, kill them. Yangtze Ocean's words made all the masters under Yao Penghu's seat change their faces. Suddenly, all the masters of Yinfeng sect rushed up. Yangtze Ocean, don't go too far. Beihua Sword God stood up and glared. This is my Beihua Divine Sect's business. It is not your turn and Yinfeng sect to intervene. Your Beihua Divine Sect's business? Yangtze Ocean's eyes were cold. Yao Penghu surrendered to the immortal death god. As the leader of Beihua Divine Sect, you not only did not care, but also helped the tyrant. You can't escape the blame. Beihua Sword God's face turned red and white. You said that our ancestor surrendered to the immortal death god. Do you have any evidence? An old ancestor under Yao Penghu said angrily. Evidence? Yangtze Ocean sneered. He practiced the ancient dragon art. That's the evidence. Because the ancient dragon art was given to him by the immortal god of death and the corpse demon. Yangtze Ocean, you are slandering me. Yao Penghu was still struggling, and said angrily, I got this ancient dragon art from a cave of an ancient dragon clan strongman. Really? Yangtze Ocean did not comment. Although Yao Penghu was powerful, he was still far behind Anlong, the strongest man in the ancient Futu Empire. In the end, he was captured by Anlong. At the same time, all the disciples related to Yao Penghu were also captured by the Yinfeng sect. Yangtze Ocean, you dare to kill me? Yao Penghu laughed angrily. I'm a member of the Elders Pavilion of Kangshan Mansion. You dare to kill me? Kangshan Mansion established an Elders Pavilion, and Yao Penghu was one of the Elders Pavilion of Kangshan Mansion. According to the regulations of Kangshan Mansion, only Kangsheng, the Lord of Kangshan Mansion and the four gods are qualified to deal with the Elders Pavilion. Don't dare to kill you? Yangtze Ocean walked towards Yao Penghu. Yao Penghu laughed wildly. Yes, only Lord Kangxiang, the palace master and the four gods can deal with me. Really? Yangtze Ocean's face was calm, and a magic sword suddenly appeared in his hand. When this magic sword appeared, whether it was Yao Penghu, the goddess of flowers, or the strongest ancestor of the Yinfeng sect, Dengfeng, their faces changed drastically. Sword of the Goddess Kang. Chapter 495, New Lord of Kangshan. The Sword of Kangshan is the sword of the Lord of Kangshan. Yangtze Ocean has obtained the Sword of Kangshan, which means he is the new Lord of Kangshan continent. Not to mention killing Yao Penghu, he can even kill the four gods of Kangshan Mansion and the Lord of Kangshan Mansion. It is precisely because Yao Penghu, the goddess of flowers, Dengfeng and others saw the Sword of Kangshan, that their faces changed so much. It is really the Sword of Kangshan. The ancient ancestors of Yinfeng sect were very excited. The Sword of Kangshan has been born. We are here to see the new Lord of Kangshan. Suddenly, the ancient ancestors of Yinfeng sect all knelt on the ground and shouted excitedly. The ancient ancestors of Beihua sect also knelt excitedly. We are here to see the new Lord of Kangshan. The face of the goddess of flowers changed drastically. Even she did not expect that Yang Xiaoshan actually got the sword of Kangshan. Yang Xiaoshan held the sword of Kangshan and continued to walk towards Yao Penghu. Yao Penghu's voice trembled, no longer arrogant as before. Yang Shen, no, the new lord of Kangshan, your majesty, please forgive me, forgive me. I hope your majesty will forgive me. I was wrong. I was obsessed. I shouldn't have surrendered to the immortal god of death. Hearing Yao Penghu's admission, the faces of the goddess of flowers and the disciples under Yao Penghu turned pale. Yao Penghu was waiting to say something, but Yang Xiaoshan pushed the sword of Kangshan in his hand and pierced directly into the center of his throat. Blood splashed out. Yao Penghu made a hoarse sound in his throat. Yang Xiaoshan's face was indifferent, and the sword of Kangshan in his hand continued to push forward and finally came out from the back of his neck. Even so, Yao Penghu was still alive, and he still opened his mouth to say something, but Yang Xiaoshan cut off his head with a horizontal hand. Yao Penghu's head rolled to the ground. The body fell in front of the goddess of flowers. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the relevant disciples under Yao Penghu. Your Majesty, spare us. We did not surrender to the immortal god of death. Hundreds of disciples under Yao Penghu were terrified and kowtowed in panic to beg for mercy. Detain them first and interrogate them, Yang Xiaoshan said to Deng Feng and others. Deng Feng and others hurriedly responded respectfully. At this time, in the courtyard of the outer disciples of the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect, Long Qingxuan was anxious and walked around worriedly. The Hundred Flowers Divine Sect was constantly shaking. Of course, she felt such a huge shock and destructive power when she learned that it was a blue-shirted boy who came to the Hundred Flowers Divine Sect to ask for an explanation. She was happy and anxious, but there were disciples guarding outside, so she couldn't leave the courtyard at all. Just when Long Qingxuan was anxious, she saw a light blue figure appear in the sky in the distance. When she saw the light blue figure walking towards this side in the air, Long Qingxuan's beautiful eyes were filled with tears. In Long Qingxuan's tears, Yang Xiaoshan finally arrived in front of Long Qingxuan's courtyard. Stop. Following the order of the Hundred Flowers Sword God, the disciple standing outside just yelled at Yang Xiaoshan and was knocked out by Yang Xiaoshan with a punch. Yang Xiaoshan pushed the door open and came to Long Qingxuan. Brother Xiaoshan, is that you? Long Qingxuan looked at the peerless boy in front of her with tears in her beautiful eyes. It's me. Yang Xiaoshan stepped forward and looked at the little girl back then. Brother Xiaoshan, thank you. Long Qingxuan stepped forward and couldn't help hugging Yang Xiaoshan, feeling Yang Xiaoshan's warmth as he did back then. I'm late. No, not at all. Kangshan Mansion. Zheng Yangjiang was studying the ancient book in his hand, and suddenly, he saw the sword Godzilla running in with an extremely excited face. You've lived to such an old age, but your temper is still so impetuous. Zheng Yangjiang couldn't help but smile when he saw the sword Godzilla's excitement. But he heard Sword Godzilla excitedly say, Master, the sword of God Kang has been born. What? The sword of God Kang? Zheng Yangjiang stood up suddenly, extremely excited. The sword of God Kang has been born. Yes, just now there was news from the Beihua Divine Sect that Xiaoshan summoned the sword of God Kang. Sword Godzilla said excitedly. Xiaoshan got the sword of God Kang. Zheng Yangjiang's expression was greatly cheered up, and then he said excitedly, Great. Great. Xiaoshan got the sword of God Kang. Then he said, quick, gather all the gods, go to the Beihua Divine Sect with me, and meet my new Lord Kangshan. Sword Godzilla saw Zheng Yangjiang's excitement, and was a little speechless. He said that I was impulsive, and you are more impulsive than me now. The Futu Empire is not close to here. If all the gods leave the Kangshan Palace, then the immortal death god and the people of the Hades Gate will come to attack. What should I do? Master, the Futu Empire is not close to here. Sword Godzilla said quickly, and I got the news that Xiaoshan and Deng Feng of the Yunfeng sect have left the Beihua Divine Sect. Left the Beihua Divine Sect? Zheng Yangjiang was stunned. Yes. Sword Godzilla quickly told what happened when Yang Xiaoshan went to the Beihua Divine Sect. Zheng Yangjiang heard that Yao Penghu had surrendered to the undying death god, and his eyes were cold. Good kill. He hated the undying death god. Do you know where your majesty is now? Zheng Yangjiang said, referring to Yang Xiaoshan. Sword God Zilong said. After leaving the 100 Flowers Divine Sect, he, and Long, Tongsin Demon Ape and Deng Feng seemed to be heading overseas. Overseas? Zheng Yangjiang was surprised. Your Majesty is going to various countries overseas? It should be. Sword God Zilong said. However, with Anlong and the others here, there shouldn't be any danger. Then he sighed. I didn't expect that your majesty not only got the divine shadow sword, but also the Kangshen sword. This little guy, I don't know when he got the Kangshen sword. It should be before joining the Kangshen mansion. Eternal divine body, Hunyuan destiny, supreme king martial soul, million-year soul ring, 2 divine grade golden pills, and the divine shadow sword and the Kangshen sword. I heard that he personally admitted that there are more than 12 sword hearts, right? 13 sword hearts? Just as Zheng Yangjiang and Sword God Zilong were sighing again and again, the news that Yang Xiaoshan got the Kangshen sword quickly spread throughout the Kangshen continent. Zheng Kai and Qian and Wanning also learned the news. This guy got angry for his beloved. He personally went to the 100 Flower Sect and killed Yao Penhu, the ancestor of the 100 Flower Sect, for Long Kingson. Now, countless girls in the Kangshen continent regard him as their dream lover. Wanning said. Zheng Kai and Qian smiled and said, why do I hear a sour taste? Wanning blushed and smiled. I'm not jealous. Yes, you are not jealous. You are just jealous. The 2 girls laughed and played together. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan, Tongsin Demon Ape, and Dark Dragon were taking the Abyss spacecraft to overseas. Accompanying Yang Xiaoshan were Deng Feng and the 5 strongest ancestors of the Yin Feng sect. Their trip was to find the treasure of the Huanquan Demon sect. The Yin Feng sect did get the Huanquan Demon sect treasure map. According to the Huanquan Demon sect treasure map, the treasure is hidden overseas. No wonder many people couldn't find the treasure after searching through the Huanquan Demon sect ruins. However, if they encounter masters from various countries overseas on this trip, it will be troublesome. Of course, it is just trouble. Just when Yang Xiaoshan was heading overseas, Yanping, the immortal god of death and son of the god of the underworld, and others also learned the news of the birth of the sword of the Kang god. Chapter 496 The Ancient Demon arrives. Knowing that the Kangshen sword was in Yang Xiaoshan's hands, both the undying god of death and the son of the Hades, Yanping, were as surprised as if they had eaten a dead fly. For them, it was better for the Kangshen sword to fall into anyone's hands than in Yang Xiaoshan's. They least wanted to see Yang Xiaoshan get the Kangshen sword, but the Kangshen sword was in Yang Xiaoshan's hands. Master Undying, let's ask Master Heart Demon to take action. Yang Ping said with a gloomy face. The undying god of death frowned. The heart demon's injuries have not been fully healed yet, and he will not come out of retreat for more than a year. Now Yang Xiaoshan has cultivated 2 Hunyuan destiny. If another year passes, when Master Heart Demon comes out of retreat, it will be even more difficult to kill him. Yang Ping looked worried. With Yang Xiaoshan's terrifying cultivation speed, by then, he may have condensed 7 or 8 Hunyuan destiny. 1 Hunyuan destiny, 12,960 miles. Equivalent to 14 9-layer destiny. If Yang Xiaoshan condensed 7 or 8 Hunyuan destiny, it would be terrifying to think about it. Even Yanping was terrified. The immortal death god was also in a heavy mood. Back then, even when he faced the Lord of Kangshen who had broken through to the peak of the 10th level of the divine realm, he didn't feel so heavy. Now, facing a junior who had just reached the 2nd level of the Emperor realm, he felt extremely heavy. Lord Immortal, I heard that Yang Xiaoshan and Dark Dragon are going overseas. Yang Ping said again. This is a good opportunity to kill Yang Xiaoshan. If we miss this opportunity, it will be difficult to kill him when he returns to Kangshen Mansion. The immortal death god's eyes flickered. I'll go see the old man Zinmo and see if he can spare a shot to kill Yang Xiaoshan. After saying that, he flashed away. Driven by the top-grade spirit stone, the Abyss spaceship turned into a stream of light and flew at a high speed in the sky. Yang Xiaoshan felt the speed of the Abyss spaceship and suddenly felt that the speed of the Abyss spaceship was still too slow. I wonder if there are any holy spirit stones in the Yellow Springs treasure. Yang Xiaoshan suddenly said. Above the top-grade spirit stone is the holy spirit stone. If there is a holy spiritual stone, To drive the Abyss spaceship, the speed of the Abyss spaceship will be faster, at least much faster than it is now. Deng Feng was stunned, and then said, I saw in an ancient book of Huanquan demon sect, that the heaven-shaking sword god got a holy spiritual vein back then. Holy spiritual vein. Yang Xiaoshan was excited. I didn't expect Huanquan demon sect to have a holy spiritual vein. Deng Feng nodded. Yes, it is a holy spiritual vein, and it is a holy demon spiritual vein. It is because of this holy demon spiritual vein that Huanquan demon sect has become more and more powerful, and later developed into the first demon sect in our Kangshan continent. If there is a holy spiritual vein, the disciples will absorb the Holy Spirit's energy to practice, and their practice will progress by leaps and bounds. Huanquan demon sect was able to become the first demon sect in Kangshan continent in the past, and this holy spiritual vein played an indispensable role. However, I'm afraid that the holy demon spiritual vein has been used up. I just don't know if there is any left in the Huanquan treasure. Deng Feng said. If your majesty wants to find a holy spiritual stone, the Temple of Destiny has it. Dark Dragon suddenly said. The Temple of Destiny. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned. He remembered that the ancient ancestor of Yin Feng sect, Tanji, had said before that the Destiny Stone of the Poison Dragon Palace was found in the Temple of Destiny a few years ago. Yes, it is the Temple of Destiny of the Goddess of Destiny. Dark Dragon said, but the Temple of Destiny is only opened once every 10 years, and the next opening will have to wait a year. The Goddess of Destiny was an extremely powerful goddess in ancient times. Before the Lord of Kangshan, the Lord of Kangshan had also entered the Temple of Destiny and obtained the Destiny Stone. On the way, Yang Xiaoshan practiced almost all the time in the secret room. He has broken through to the peak of the late second level of the Emperor Realm. As long as he breaks through again, he will be in the third level of the Emperor Realm. By then, he will be able to carry the third Hunyuan Destiny. Now, he has exposed the sword of Kangshan in his hands, and I'm afraid that the Undying Death God and others want him to die even more. Therefore, he has to improve his strength as soon as possible. Yang Xiaoshan swallowed a second level Heavenly Emperor pill, and immediately, the pill turned into a rolling hot stream. Under the operation of his first dragon art, the pill's medicinal power continued to transform into his Sea of Shenseneon. Yang Xiaoshan's Sea of Spirit Essence became stronger and stronger. One night passed. When he stopped practicing, he could clearly feel that his Sea of Spirit Essence was obviously thicker. However, even if he had the second level Heavenly Emperor pill, it was not easy to break through the third level of the Emperor Realm. According to Yang Xiaoshan's estimation, it would take at least another month for him to break through the third level of the Emperor Realm. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. They came to the coast of Kangshan continent. Beyond that, there was the vast sea. When passing a coastal village, Yang Xiaoshan saw that it was dark, so he stopped to rest with everyone. Yang Xiaoshan always felt uneasy when driving the spacecraft in the sky. It was more solid to be on the ground. The night was quiet. The village was lush with green grass. In the fields in the distance, there were occasional sounds of frogs. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and his companions were sitting around the bonfire, an old man in darkness walked out of the night in the distance. The old man looked ordinary. Tongsin Demon Ape took a look and didn't care, but Anlang's eyes condensed, and he stood up suddenly, and the dark power roared up, as if facing a great enemy. Deng Feng and others saw Anlang's reaction, and they all stood up in shock, and stared at the old man. Yang Xiaoshan also stood up. The old man didn't care about Anlang's dark power at all. He didn't look at Anlang and his companions, but at Yang Xiaoshan. The old man's eyes actually emitted wisps of black demonic energy. Looking at this black demonic energy, Yang Xiaoshan immediately knew who the person was. The demon in the heart of Tao. The ancient demon. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes were solemn. The person who came was the ancient demon who escaped from the depths of the forbidden land of the Brahma family a few days ago. An ancient god whose strength was even above the immortal god of death. Hey, little guy, you have good eyesight. The ancient heart demon laughed. His smile was weird, and his laughter was even weirder. His voice made people feel dizzy. Not only Yang Xiaoshan, but also Dark Dragon, Tongsin Demon Ape, Deng Feng and others were all dizzy. The ancient heart demon just said a word, and Yang Xiaoshan and others all fell into the illusion. it can be seen that the horror of the Dao Heart Demon Sutra of the ancient Heart Demon. In front of Yangtze Ocean, it seemed that countless demon shadows appeared, and the demon shadows were heavy, more and more, and endless. The ancient Heart Demon came to Yangtze Ocean, looking at Yangtze Ocean who had fallen into the illusion of the demon shadow, and a bloodthirsty light appeared in his eyes. Eternal God Body, million years soul ring, what a pity. All these myths will end in my hands today. After speaking, he had a sword energy in his hand, and he was about to pierce Yangtze Ocean's throat. At this moment, suddenly, a golden light from Master Ding enveloped Yangtze Ocean's whole body, blocked the sword energy of the ancient Heart Demon. The ancient Heart Demon was stunned. Then, Yangtze Ocean's divine sea, heaven and earth, mixed primordial destiny, golden light burst out, and Yangtze Ocean, who was originally trapped in the magic shadow illusion, suddenly woke up. As soon as he woke up, Yangtze Ocean shouted, "Master Ding." Suddenly, a huge tripod instantly soared into the sky and fell like a meteor. Chapter 497 Encounter with the Donghuan Caravan. Boom. The earth trembled, dust rolled, and the power of destruction swept. Under the bombardment of Master Ding, the old man of the ancient Heart Demon was blasted into rolling demonic energy, and Dark Dragon, Tongsin Demon Ape, Dengfeng and others were also awakened. Everyone looked and saw that the demonic energy transformed by the ancient Heart Demon was all over the sky and then drifted between heaven and earth. Yangtze Ocean was stunned. The strength of the ancient Heart Demon was still above the undead death god, and it was impossible to be blown up so easily. At this time, Master Ding's voice sounded. It was just a Dao Heart Demon body that came. Yangtze Ocean was surprised. Master Ding means that it was just a clone of the ancient Heart Demon. Yes, Master Ding said, the Dao Heart Demon Sutra is an extremely powerful demonic scripture. When it is cultivated to the perfect state, it can condense many demonic bodies. The one that came just now was just one of the clones of the ancient Heart Demon. Yangtze Ocean was shocked. A clone is so powerful. A word from a clone made a master like Dark Dragon fall into an illusion. How strong is the real body of the ancient Heart Demon? His real body should not have recovered from his injuries, so he didn't come, said Master Ding. Yangtze Ocean's face was solemn. The real body of the ancient demon has not recovered from his injuries, and the strength of a clone is so strong. If the real body recovers, how strong will it be? And Long, Tongsin Demon Ape, Dengfeng and others recalled the horror of falling into the illusion just now, and all of them broke out in cold sweat. They only knew that the ancient demon was terrifying, and they really experienced it just now. And Long was the top master of the Futu Empire more than 100,000 years ago. And Long's strength was not weaker than the four gods of Kang Shenfu, but he still had no power to resist the ancient demon just now. Because Long had not made a move, he was already controlled by the other party's magic sound. Dao's in emojing, it is worthy of being the supreme magic book. And Long's mouth was dry. I wonder if Lord Kang Xiang can stop the ancient demon. Dengfeng suddenly said. Everyone was silent. Kang Xiang's strength was obvious to all. But the ancient demon was also unfathomable. Due to the appearance of the ancient Heart Demon, everyone became more vigilant and dared not relax at all. Just as Yangtze Ocean and his companions were cautious and on guard against the ancient Heart Demon's attack again, the ancient Heart Demon's real body opened his eyes in a certain desolate mountain, and his eyes were filled with demonic energy. Brother Heart Demon, how is it? The immortal death god said beside him. The ancient Heart Demon shook his head. I didn't kill him. You are right. The giant tripod on the boy, surnamed Yang, is terrifying. The immortal death god was disappointed when he heard this. My real body's strength has not recovered yet. When my injuries are healed and my strength is restored, my real body will personally experience the giant tripod. The ancient Heart Demon's eyes were cold. Don't worry, the boy surnamed Yang will not live long. Then, he looked at the immortal death god. Kang Shen's notes. You must get it. Because the Kang Shen's notes recorded not only the star god tree, but also other treasures. One of the treasures was extremely important to the ancient Heart Demon. The immortal death god nodded. Don't worry, I'm already preparing. This time, I will definitely get the Kang Shen notes. Then he sneered. However, this time the boy surnamed Yang is going to sea. Maybe we don't have to do anything at all. The 100,000 major countries overseas are eyeing the Kangshen continent. If they knew that Yang Xiaoshan had gone overseas, they would definitely want to cut him into pieces. The next day at dawn, Yang Xiaoshan and his men continued on their way. It didn't take long before they saw the vast sea. The waves were surging, and the waves were surging. Under the sun, there were endless dangers. The vast sea is not only home to the 100,000 major countries overseas, but also to many powerful sea beasts living in the sea. These sea beasts, the powerful ones, are not weaker than Tonks and Demon Ape, Dengfeng, and even Dark Dragon. Of course, existences like Dark Dragon are rare even in the vast sea. Yang Xiaoshan drove the Abyss spaceship to break through the sea breeze and entered the boundless sea. The next few days, it was very peaceful. At sea, we occasionally encounter masters from various countries overseas and some pirates. However, when we encounter robbery, Yang Xiaoshan directly drives the spacecraft to crash into them. In order to reduce trouble, several people choose to rest on uninhabited deserted islands at night. Occasionally, we will continue to travel at night. However, at night, the sea is more dangerous, and the spacecraft is frequently attacked by sea beasts. Tired of being attacked, Yang Xiaoshan simply released the breath of the deep sea demon Kun in the spacecraft. Sure enough, those sea beasts dared not attack again. The other side of the Kangshen continent is the one giant continent. The two continents are separated by the boundless sea. No one knows how big the boundless sea is. There was a strong man in the spirit realm who flew straight all the way for several years before crossing the boundless sea and reaching the one giant continent. This is still a straight line flight. Therefore, if there is no true god level spacecraft, it is extremely difficult to rush from the Kangshen continent to the one giant continent. On this day, when Yang Xiaoshan was driving the spacecraft forward, he suddenly saw a huge spacecraft in front of him. Seeing the logo on the hull of the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Isn't this the spaceship of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce of the 10,000 Gods Empire? I didn't expect to meet the spaceship of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce here. Yang Xiaoshan didn't want to pay attention to it, but when his spaceship passed the spaceship of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce, a surprised voice came from the opposite spaceship, Young Master Yang Shen. Yang Xiaoshan looked over and saw a person standing on the opposite spaceship. It was Dong Huangsheng, the president of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but stop, clasped his fists and smiled. It turned out to be President Dong Huang. His mansion of the gods was purchased from Dong Huangsheng. He was familiar with Dong Huang Xiu and had troubled Dong Huang Xiu to buy building materials. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan was very polite to Dong Huangsheng. I didn't expect to meet young master Yang Shen here. Dong Huangsheng was very enthusiastic and smiled. If young master Yang Shen doesn't mind, how about coming up and sitting with you? Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan put away the spaceship and then flew onto the spaceship of the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce with An Lang and others. Dong Huangsheng led a group of masters from the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce to greet them. He came to Yang Xiaoshan, clasped his fists, and said with a smile, when a man has been away for 3 days, he should be looked at with new eyes. Now I have to call young master Yang Shen as his majesty. Yang Xiaoshan got the sword of Kangshen, and he became the new master of Kangshen continent. Even if Dong Huangsheng was the president of the first chamber of commerce in Kangshen continent, he had to respectfully call Yang Xiaoshan his majesty. Yang Xiaoshan shook his hand and said with a smile, President Dong Huang is too polite. You can just call me Xiaoshan or young master Yang Shen. At this time, all the masters from the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce bowed deeply to Yang Xiaoshan with awe. Meet your majesty. Among these masters from the Donghuan Chamber of Commerce, there are many powerful masters in the spirit realm, but at this time, facing Yang Xiaoshan, they dare not be rash. Although Yang Xiaoshan is only a great emperor, he has an eternal divine body, a million-year soul ring and a mixed destiny, and has many myths. When the news that Yang Xiaoshan got the sword of Kangshen came out, everyone was just excited and fanatically worshipped, without any dissatisfaction or contempt. Almost everyone in Kangshen continent has already determined that Yang Xiaoshan is the new master of Kangshen continent. Seniors, no need to be polite. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. Then, Deng Huangsheng warmly welcomed Yang Xiaoshan and his companions into the merchant ship hall. Chapter 498, Divine Emperor Di Yunshan. The Deng Huang merchant ship was very large, with a total of 10 floors. The first floor hall alone was enough to accommodate hundreds of people. Yang Xiaoshan sat down with Deng Huangsheng and chatted for a while. Then he learned that Deng Huang Chamber of Commerce had received news that a top-grade spiritual vein had been discovered overseas. Top-grade spiritual veins are already hard to find, and the rarity of top-grade spiritual veins can be imagined. That was why Deng Huangsheng personally took charge and led everyone there. Deng Huangsheng even told Yang Xiaoshan about the island where the top-grade spiritual vein was. He smiled and said, "Is God Yang free? How about we go to Xianshao Island together? Then, we will share the top-grade spiritual vein." This was undoubtedly to give half of the top-grade spiritual vein to Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan shook his hand and smiled. "Thank you, President Deng Huang. We have something else to do, so we won't go to Xianshao Island. No merit, no reward. Besides, Yang Xiaoshan is not short of top-grade spiritual veins now. What he lacks is holy spiritual veins." Deng Huangsheng warmly entertained Yang Xiaoshan and his friends. However, since Yang Xiaoshan and the Deng Huang caravan were not on the same road, Yang Xiaoshan separated from Deng Huangsheng the next morning and continued on their way. The Huangquan demon sect's treasure is somewhere on the Devil Island overseas. Therefore, after Yang Xiaoshan and his companions separated from Deng Huangsheng, they continued to rush to the Devil Island. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was rushing to the Devil Island, the overseas countries learned that Yang Xiaoshan had come overseas. Above a certain sea area overseas, there is a huge island floating. This island is probably as big as 10,000 gods' empires, like a continent floating on the sea. On the island, there are many sects and tens of millions of families. This is the first country overseas, the Kingdom of Stars. Overseas, there are 100,000 big countries. Just like the Kangshen continent, there are kingdoms, imperial countries, and empires. But this first country overseas is not called an empire like the 10,000 gods empire, but a kingdom of gods. The Kingdom of Stars. It means to be above the empire. The 10,000 gods empire claims to have 10,000 gods. But the Kingdom of Stars is stronger than the 10,000 gods empire, and there are more than 10,000 powerful gods. At this time, Emperor Yunshan of the Kingdom of Stars also learned about Yang Xiaoshan's arrival overseas. The sword of the god of Kang, the sword of the shadow of God, the flame of the earth, the golden flame of 9 phoenixes. Emperor Yunshan sneered, "This new lord of the god of Kang has all kinds of treasures. You are so brave that you dare to come to my overseas countries. Do you think that there is no one in my overseas countries?" In his opinion, Yang Xiaoshan was provoking the overseas countries. Langjin, the Big Dipper god under Emperor Yunshan's seat, murmured, "This new lord of the Kang god is an eternal evil genius, with an even more terrifying talent than the lord of the Kang god back then. He not only cultivated 2 divine golden elixirs, but also cultivated an eternal divine body, a mixed destiny, and even possessed a 1,000,000-year soul ring. If such a genius is allowed to break through the realm of the gods, he will be invincible and our overseas countries will be in danger." Emperor Yunshan said coldly, "Since he has come overseas this time, let him stay overseas forever. The boundless sea will be his burial place. Pass the order down. Let the armies of various countries blockade the sea area, and all spacecraft are not allowed to enter or leave. Whoever captures Yang Xiaoshan alive will be rewarded with 200 billion low-grade spirit stones, countless elixirs, and secret manuals of exercises. Whoever kills Yang Xiaoshan will be rewarded with 100 billion low-grade spirit stones, countless elixirs, and secret manuals of exercises. I don't believe that our 100,000 great countries overseas can't kill a few of them." Soon, as the news came out, overseas was boiling, and all countries were shocked. The Kingdom of Stars even sent out countless strong men to search for Yang Xiaoshan. Therefore, not long after Yang Xiaoshan separated from Deng Huangsheng, he encountered the armies of various countries searching overseas. Yang Xiaoshan captured one of the army leaders and asked him about it. He then learned that all the countries overseas were searching for him. "Capture me alive. 200 billion low-grade spirit stones. Kill me. 100 billion low-grade spirit stones. Yang Xiaoshan laughed and said, this Emperor Yunshan is really generous. 200 billion low-grade spirit stones. Even the imperial families of many empires in the Kangshan continent may not be able to take out. With such a huge reward, it is no wonder that the masters of various countries overseas are tempted. However, if you want to kill me, then you have to see if you have the life to collect these spirit stones. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes were cold. The tanks and demon ape looked at the overwhelming army in front of him, his eyes full of bloodthirsty murderous intent. Young master, we kill them? Kill them. Okay, kill them. Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, and immediately broke through the air and rushed towards the overwhelming army. From a distance of several miles, he punched out with both fists. Suddenly, the dragon roar shook the world. I saw 100,000 true dragons roaring and flying out. The sky full of true dragons blasted into the overseas army. The densely packed overseas army was blasted through a large area. Kill. The tanks in Demon Ape did not summon the black crystal iron chain, but rushed directly into the overseas army, punched out, and countless overseas soldiers flew wherever the fist passed. The dark dragon slapped down with a palm, and darkness descended. Deng Feng and the 5 Yin Feng sect ancestors also took action. In the blink of an eye, the densely packed army was killed and shattered. The remaining masters wanted to flee in fear, but they were all crushed one by the tanks in Demon Ape. After dealing with this overseas army, Yang Xiaoshan did not stay and continued to rush to Devil Island. However, Yang Xiaoshan and his men killed so many overseas troops that they soon alarmed the masters of the Kingdom of Stars. The eyes of the Divine Emperor Di Yunshan were cold. Let someone block the billions of miles of sea area of Washan Island. This time, I will catch them alive myself. After saying that, he immediately broke through the air and turned into a divine light, rushing to where Yang Xiaoshan and others were. The Divine Emperor Di Yunshan is known as the first emperor of the overseas countries from ancient times to the present. His strength is so strong that it surpasses any emperor of the Kingdom of Stars. Countless strong men of the Kingdom of Stars broke through the air and rushed to Washan Island. Night fell. Heavy rain poured. Yang Xiaoshan and others landed on a deserted island. They saw a dilapidated temple from a distance and entered the dilapidated temple. They saw that the dilapidated temple was full of broken statues. Damn it, the overseas countries are just mad dogs that smell blood. Tanks in Demon Ape was full of murderous aura. Today, they encountered hundreds of masters and armies along the way. These overseas masters were simply endless to kill. Tanks in Demon Ape was so angry that his blood boiled. Just now, they had just dealt with thousands of masters from a sect. Everyone take a break and continue on the road later. Yang Xiaoshan said, and then took out the sixfold heavenly tribulation thunder water, gave each person a mouthful, and swallowed it, killing all the way down. Tanks in Demon Ape and others also consumed a lot of their divine power. Sir, this is too expensive. Deng Feng and others were surprised to see that it was the sixfold heavenly tribulation thunder water. Yang Xiaoshan shook his hand, signaling everyone not to be polite and let everyone swallow it. Seeing this, Deng Feng and others were no longer arrogant and swallowed the sixfold heavenly tribulation thunder water. However, just as they had just swallowed the sixfold heavenly tribulation thunder water, suddenly, a force that destroyed the world instantly enveloped the ruined temple. Sir, let's go. The dark dragon was shocked and took Yang Xiaoshan into the air. Tanks in Demon Ape, Deng Feng and others also flew up into the air. Boom. As soon as they flew up, they saw the ruined temple was smashed into pieces by the terrifying fist force, and a terrifying deep pit appeared on the ground. A middle-aged man in a divine robe came from the sea. Although they were very far away, and Long and others could still feel the overwhelming divine power and imperial power on him. Divine Emperor Di Yunshan. And Long's face was solemn, as if he was facing a great enemy. Chapter 499 Emperor Yunshan's Strength. Before, the dark dragon saw the ancient demon and felt like he was facing a formidable enemy. Now, he felt like he was facing a formidable enemy again. Seeing the god Emperor Di Yunshan coming in the air with his hands behind his back, even the murderous tanks and Demon Ape lost his killing intent at this moment. Di Yunshan came in the air, and his overwhelming divine power and imperial power were like the sea of the end of the world, boundless, making Deng Feng and the 5 strongest ancestors of the Yunfeng sect feel suffocated. Strong. At this moment, this was the only feeling that Deng Feng and the others had. The dark dragon suddenly roared, and the darkness and dragon power of his whole body supported the sky, forming an amazing dark dragon power barrier. However, every time Di Yunshan took a step forward, the dark dragon's dark dragon power barrier was compressed. It was not seen how Di Yunshan moved, or made a move, and the dark dragon's dark dragon power barrier seemed to be under terrible pressure, and was constantly squeezed. When Di Yunshan came to the sky above the deserted island, he saw that the dark dragon's dark dragon power barrier had shrunk to a radius of 10 miles, and it was dim and lightless, as if it would collapse at any time. However, Emperor Yunshan hadn't made a move yet. Cold sweat broke out on Anlong's forehead and his face turned pale. The strength of Emperor Yunshan, the first emperor in the history of overseas, was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Anlong was the first master of Fu to empire more than 100,000 years ago, but Emperor Yunshan was already invincible overseas 200,000 years ago. 200,000 years ago, none of the hundreds of millions of strong men overseas could block his punch. This was the strength of Emperor Yunshan. Emperor Yunshan and the Emperor Master of Kangshen Academy were figures of the same period. The Emperor Master had amazing talent. Before Yang Xiaoshan, he was the only strong man in Kangshen Academy who had opened more than 600 acupoints. But the Emperor Master was not even ranked in front of Emperor Yunshan. The two were worlds apart. The Emperor Master was on the ground, and Emperor Yunshan was in the sky. Emperor Yunshan glanced at Anlong. With just one glance, Anlong's divine sea seemed to be hit hard, and the dark dragon power barrier on his body collapsed. He retreated again and again, and spit out a mouthful of blood. Tonks and Demon Ape, Deng Feng and others all took a breath of cold air. Just one glance, and the dark dragon vomited blood and got injured? Exclamation mark. Yang Xiaoshan was also shocked. The first emperor of the overseas world from ancient times to the present? No wonder the Lord of Kangshan and Kangshan could not conquer all the overseas countries for so many years. Legend has it that the Lord of Kangshan fought with Master Di Yunshan for several days and nights and could not determine the winner. This Di Yunshan is probably as strong as his master, and as strong as the Lord of Kangshan back then? Exclamation mark. Emperor Yunshan stood high in the sky, looking down at Yang Xiaoshan. Little guy, you got the Kangshan sword from old man Kangshan? You are so brave that you dare to come to my overseas. Yang Xiaoshan's face was calm. The world is so big, I can come when I want, and leave when I want. Emperor Yunshan's eyes condensed and he laughed. His laughter was hearty. Good. Little guy, your courage is commendable, but I hope you will have the courage to say such tough words later. I'm curious, how did you hunt the Lord of the Abyss? At this point, he walked towards Yang Xiaoshan. Although Di Yunshan said it easily, when he walked towards Yang Xiaoshan, he locked his whole mind on Yang Xiaoshan and paid attention to Yang Xiaoshan's changes. Master Ding, kill. Yang Xiaoshan shouted suddenly. Master Ding? Just as Di Yunshan's eyes were fixed, suddenly, a huge tripod with golden light broke through the air and flew up. Master Ding was boundless, covering the boundless sea area, and instantly fell towards Di Yunshan with golden flames. Di Yunshan's face changed drastically, and his whole body was supported by heavy divine light. Above his head, a huge shadow of a divine beast appeared. The shadow of this divine beast was dark and boundless, and it was only a circle smaller than the deep sea demon Kun at the beginning. At the same time, Di Yunshan punched out with both fists crazily. The terrifying fist force hit Master Ding. Boom. Master Ding and Di Yunshan's terrifying fist force collided with each other. But Di Yunshan's terrifying fist force was exploded. Then, Master Ding blasted Di Yunshan into the ground of the island with the power of covering the sky. The island exploded and was exploded. And Emperor Yunshan was also blasted into the seabed. The waves exploded thousands of times, and countless miles of sea areas were blasted out of water. Even Emperor Yunshan, who was as strong as Kang Xiang, was blasted out without negotiation. However, just when Yang Xiaoshan felt relieved, suddenly, the sea surface exploded, and a figure soared into the sky. It was Emperor Yunshan who had just been blasted into the seabed. Emperor Yunshan's divine robe was torn, blood was flowing from the corners of his mouth, and his face was full of anger and raging fighting spirit. Zhongshan divine fist. Suddenly, Emperor Yunshan roared and punched the medicine cauldron with both fists. The fist force roared, tearing through the void. It seemed that the sky was about to be blasted through. Ding Yi's whole body was burning with golden flames, illuminating the boundless sea area, and blasted down again. Boom. This time, Emperor Yunshan was blasted out countless miles. The waves were blasted into a huge trench thousands of miles wide. An island that looked like land was hit by Emperor Yunshan, and was directly blasted in the middle. Finally, Emperor Yunshan smashed at the end of the sea. Dark Dragon, Deng Feng and others were all shocked when they saw this scene. Deng Feng and others couldn't help but think of the scene when they saw the immortal death god being blown away in the eternal heaven tomb. But the scene in front of them shocked Deng Feng and others even more. Because the strength of the first emperor in the history of the world is 1 point stronger than the immortal death god, but he was still blown away by Master Ding. At this moment, they once again experienced the invincible power of Master Ding. But at this moment, suddenly, the end of the sea area was blown away again, and Emperor Yunshan, who had just been blown away to the end of the sea area, flew back again. Moreover, Emperor Yunshan's whole body was burning with dark flames, and his fighting spirit was surging. It seemed that he was getting stronger and stronger. Looking at Emperor Yunshan, whose whole body of divine robes had been completely blown up, and whose fighting spirit was getting stronger, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised that this Emperor Yunshan was so strong. Heavy sea god body. Master Ding looked at Emperor Yunshan's whole body of divine light, broke through the air again, and his whole body of golden flames rose sharply, bombarding Emperor Yunshan. Heavy sea divine body. It was Emperor Yunshan's divine body. Heavy sea divine body, a divine body that was said to be invincible in the sea. Possessing this divine body was almost immortal. In the sea, the heavy sea divine body could use the sea energy to quickly recover from injuries. That was why Emperor Yunshan was still so strong. After enduring 2 unparalleled attacks from Master Ding. Seeing Master Ding coming, Emperor Yunshan looked up to the sky and shouted, "Heaven-shaking divine sword." A divine sword flew in the void. The heaven-shaking divine sword was the sword of the heaven-shaking sword god of the Huanquan demon sect. At this moment, it was in Emperor Yunshan's hands. Emperor Yunshan held the heaven-shaking divine sword and suddenly slashed it out. Billions of sword ki burst out. The sword ki was so strong that it stirred up billions of seawater, and the seawater and sword ki merged into one, as if the entire sea was sword ki. However, the heaven-shaking billions of sword ki were exploded again, and Emperor Yunshan was blasted to spit blood and fly backwards. In the loud bang, one island after another was bombarded and sank. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the heaven-shaking divine sword that was blown away, but he was surprised. The heaven-shaking divine sword was actually in the hands of Emperor Yunshan. Could it be that the Huanquan demon sect's treasure house had been obtained by Emperor Yunshan? This was not impossible. If so, wouldn't their trip overseas be in vain? Chapter 500 Emperor Yunshan's son. At this time, Di Yunshan, who was blown away, flew back from the end of the sky again, with a divine fork in his hand. A lifelike silver dragon was seen entwined on the fork. Silver dragon divine fork. And Lang was surprised. The silver dragon divine fork was the treasure of the ancient silver dragon clan. It actually fell into Di Yunshan's hands. Di Yunshan infused his divine power, and the silver dragon divine fork shot out a dazzling silver light. He was covered in blood, soared into the sky, roared, and blasted towards Ding Yi with a fork. Ding Yi snorted coldly, and it doubled in size again. The golden flame burned, burning the entire sea red, and countless islands seemed to be burning. Boom. Ding Yi's speed soared, and he blasted Di Yunshan away again with an unstoppable momentum. This time, Di Yunshan was blasted through the seabed. The boundless sea was shaking. The masters of various countries overseas were terrified. Even the masters of the Kingdom of Stars who rushed over were shocked. The silver dragon divine fork was blown to an unknown end, piercing a giant island. Lord Ding flew up again, and blasted towards Emperor Yunshan at the bottom of the sea. The boundless sea trembled violently. The terrifying power swept over layer after layer. Countless islands collapsed, and the island cities burst open. Countless overseas masters fled in fear. The entire overseas world was like a world destroyed. But this was not over yet. Lord Ding soared into the sky again and smashed down again. The sea was stagnant, and the masters of the Kingdom of Stars who rushed over were blown away by the sweeping power and vomited blood. Lord Ding soared into the sky again and smashed down again and again. After more than 10 times, he finally stopped completely, and Lang and others were terrified, and even doubted whether the abyss of the sea would be blasted through if they continued to blast like this. Emperor Yunshan's body had long disappeared. It was unknown whether he was blasted into the deeper abyss of the sea, or had been blasted. Lord Ding returned to Yang Xiaoshan's hands. Lord Ding, how is it? Yang Xiaoshan asked. Not dead yet. Lord Ding shook his head. Yang Xiaoshan's heart suddenly sank. After all, Di Yunshan was a being comparable to a grey bear, and it was not so easy to die. Moreover, he had a heavy sea god body, and could recover amazingly. Unless there were 80 mouthfuls of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water, otherwise, it would not be able to explode, said Ding Yi. Yang Xiaoshan was speechless. Just now, he was bombarded by Ding Yi, and now, he only had 2 mouthfuls of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water left. However, he cannot recover in less than a month. Ding Yi said. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan had to find the Huangquan demon sect treasure and leave the boundless sea during this period. Otherwise, when Di Yunshan recovered, even Ding Yi would be helpless. After all, there were only 2 mouthfuls of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water left. Yang Xiaoshan's heart sank. Even if they rushed to the Devil Island at full speed, it would take half a month. Even if they really found the Huangquan demon sect treasure, they could not leave the boundless sea within a month. At this time, countless voices broke through the air. Countless powerful gods in the Kingdom of Stars were rushing here. Let's go. Yang Xiaoshan took out the Abyss spaceship without hesitation, boarded the ship with An Lang and others, and drove the Abyss spaceship with all his strength to break through the air and leave. He knew that this was not the time to hesitate. No matter what, they had to go to Devil Island to see if the treasure of Huangquan demon sect was still there. Not long after Yang Xiaoshan and his companions left, countless powerful people from the Kingdom of Stars rushed in like a tide. The leader was Lanjin, the North Dipper Star God under Emperor Yunshan. Under Emperor Yunshan's seat, there are 4 powerful people, divided into the North Dipper Star God, the West Dipper Star God, the East Dipper Star God, and the South Dipper Star God. The 4 star gods are also invincible in the boundless sea. The strength of the 4 is second only to Emperor Yunshan. Some people say that the strength of the 4 star gods under Emperor Yunshan is even stronger than the 4 gods of Kangshan Mansion. Bidao Star God Lanjin looked at the sky where the Abyss spaceship disappeared, his eyes cold. Chase. His Majesty's order. I want to see the person alive, and I want to see the body dead. No matter what, Yang Xiaoshan must not escape from the sea. Even if Kang Xiang and Zheng Yang Jiang come, Yang Xiaoshan must be buried in the sea. It can be seen that the Kingdom of Stars is determined to kill Yang Xiaoshan. Lanjin broke through the air and continued to chase. The gods of the Kingdom of Stars also chased after him. However, the Abyss spaceship is a true god-level spaceship after all. Driven by the best spirit stone, it gradually opened up the distance with the gods of the Kingdom of Stars. In the end, only the 4 star gods of Bidao Star God Lanjin could keep up. A day and a night passed. The 4 star gods of Lanjin were still chasing after him. However, although the 4 star gods of Lanjin were chasing after him, Yang Xiaoshan could see that the 4 of them had consumed a lot of divine power and their speed had begun to slow down. Looking at the 4 star gods chasing after him, Yang Xiaoshan once again wanted to improve his strength. If he broke through the realm of the gods, he would be invincible. Not to mention the 4 blue and gold star gods, even Emperor Yunshan could be beaten. As long as he broke through the realm of the gods. The realm of the gods. Yang Xiaoshan clenched his fists. After 2 days and 2 nights, the speed of the 4 blue and gold star gods finally became slower and slower, and they were eventually thrown away by the Abyss spaceship and disappeared. However, Yang Xiaoshan still did not dare to relax, and continued to drive the Abyss spaceship to Devil Island. After more than 10 days, they finally arrived at Devil Island. At this time, night had fallen, and the devil's aura on Devil Island was surging, like a demon world on Earth. Devil Island is a dangerous place overseas. Even during the day, ordinary gods dare not set foot here. The devil's aura is extremely strong, and there is a kind of devil creature living here. If you are not careful, even the gods will be swallowed into bones. Yang Xiaoshan stretched out his eternal divine body, and the 1,000 Buddha's divine fire floated around his body, directly blasting away the demonic spirits and ghost spirits, and entered the Devil Island with everyone. It was the first time for Anlong, Dengfeng and others to see the 1,000 Buddha's divine fire, and they were surprised. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and others were coming to the southwest corner of the Devil Island, suddenly, the voice of a powerful human was faintly heard from the front. Hearing the voice, several people were surprised. They didn't expect that someone had come to the Devil Island first. Could it be that the other party also came for the Huangquan demon sect's treasure? It's the glazed divine grass. With these dozen glazed divine grasses, we can refine the glazed divine pill. Yang Xiaoshan was relieved when he heard it. It turned out that they didn't come here for the Huangquan demon sect's treasure, but just found the glazed divine grass here. Glazed divine grass is one of the most important medicinal materials for refining the top level divine pill, glazed divine pill, which is extremely rare and precious. Who? At this moment, a group of people in front were shocked. Yang Xiaoshan walked over with Anlong and others. After passing through a large area of weeds, Yang Xiaoshan and others saw each other. There were a lot of people on the other side, more than 100 people. However, after seeing their attire, Yang Xiaoshan was surprised that they were actually from the Kingdom of Stars, and the young man in the lead was from the imperial family of the Kingdom of Stars, wearing the dragon robe of the Emperor of the Kingdom of Stars. Since this young man was wearing the dragon robe of the Emperor of the Kingdom of Stars, his identity was obvious, the Prince of the Kingdom of Stars. Yang Xiaoshan didn't expect to meet the son of Di Yunshan here. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.